employing in order to, what they're putting in place. They actually haven't been saying whether or not they in fact are greasing the polls, because they don't want to encourage people to do that. Neither do we. So please do not do that. And that is actually one of the reasons too that I've been told by several sources that they are having more officers keeping their eye. They're going to be in closer proximity, not just police officers. You also have the Philadelphia Fire Department out here. There's a number of their apparatus that I can see just from where I'm standing right now, located on Broad Street. They're also going to have a number of their medics out there too, so that they can respond even quicker than they already normally do in these large types of events, something that we are used to in Philadelphia as well. Sarah and Rick, I just want to give you that beautiful shot right there. I know that those are illegal fireworks. We're telling you not to put them off. At the same time, right now, that's what people are walking up to right now as they head out here to Broad Street. Next time I talk to you guys, I'm sure it's going to be full of people here when you come back street.
Okay, Annie, thank you.
All right. And again, the game about 3 minutes before it will be over, although many people say it's over already. And this crowd we're looking at will continue to swell throughout the evening. The celebration already underway here in Center City, Philadelphia. Let's go live to Action News anchor John Paul. He's in the chopper right now with a bird's eye view of the fan celebration. John.
Yeah, Rick, you can see somebody's already trying to climb that pole there at JFK and Market. The huge crowd around them. We have been watching this grow and grow here over the last 5-10 minutes. Now, we started up near Frankfurt and Cottman, and some of those roads were already blocked off. They actually had dump trucks blocking some of the roads off. A lot of police up there. And then we made our way down here to City Hall area. We saw fireworks on the way down. And I got to say, we saw flashing blue and red lights all over. There are a lot of police out as we're starting to see this big crowd gathering here right by City Hall. They're shooting off those fireworks right there. Not a huge crowd at this point, but we know this is going to grow as that game winds down. And already somebody climbing a pole. You know, the mayor talked about this. Commissioner Kevin Bethel talked about this as well. They do not want people doing this, especially after what happened in the NFC win 2 weeks ago with the unfortunate death of that 18-year-old. But people are already trying to climb up these poles. Now, let's pull out a little bit, give you a good idea of just how big the crowd is at this point. And we'll also kind of see where the police are stationed. You see them over by the bollards by City Hall on the top of your screen. It looks like they're officers kind of watching that area, and City Hall down to our left here. But the crowd not too big at this point. We know that is going to be changing, so we're going to keep an eye here on the City Hall area. Actually, let's pull out a little bit. And down Market Street, there are a lot of fireworks. If we can go to the left, I believe, of where we are, over by the convention center, down Market Street, looks like police have the whole road shut down, and people are lighting off fireworks. And as the festivities start to get underway with the huge win there in the Super Bowl, and we're going to try to kind of catch our bearings here. But yeah, there's some fireworks there as well on Broad Street. So this crowd right here on JFK is one of the spots that we're seeing. We're seeing several other pockets of people as they're starting to flood out of the bars. We know that's a popular thing to do, especially after a big win like this, such a blowout win over Kansas City. Now we're going to push in. I believe that's down Broad. You can see a lot of people there and a lot of police. Now the police have these barricades set up. They're kind of letting people do their thing. They're letting them shoot off those fireworks. We're going to kind of keep our chopper back a ways. But if you notice, they're not letting them take over the entire street. And this is because they have a lot of police officers working tonight. And they also did not have a game that they needed to protect down in South Philly. So they have more officers, these people jumping around. So far, so good. We'll send it back to you guys.
John, I wanted to ask you, because after the NFC Championship game, we saw really a chaotic situation. As you're looking from this aerial vantage view, does it look like police are taking a different tactic this time? We know there are more out there, but have they blocked off more streets and they've got those barricades up? What can you see that maybe looks a little different this go around?
Absolutely. So it looks like they have police stationed every block or so. They've got their lights on, and it just goes for blocks in all directions. That's what I have noticed, Sarah, is there are police just kind of stationed. I mean, on the way down here, we saw police stationed in empty parking lots. So it looks like they have a different plan than they did during the NFC. It almost looks as if they're trying to keep these crowds from like forming one large crowd. They're trying to keep them in pockets almost, and you can see that there's like these separations. There you see the officers in the crosswalk, and they've got those fences. I don't believe they had those during the NFC Championship. So, you know, we had been talking about this in the 2 weeks leading up to this, Sarah and Rick, that they had a plan going into this, but they refined their plan after the NFC win, because so much happened during that one. You remember, we had the fireworks, we usually see those, but we also had gunfire. We had somebody ramming a crowd on Spring Garden Street, and we also had the person, unfortunately, who fell from the pole and later died. And so it looks like they're going to take a more hands-on approach here. They have a lot of manpower. We're told they also have 150 state troopers that they have brought in to help keep the crowds under control. But you also have to understand, this is a much bigger win with the Super Bowl, and this is just now getting underway. The bars haven't even fully let out at this point. So we're sure going to see this grow, and we'll see how police respond. Sarah, Rick.
All right, John, thank you. And of course, we will be coming back to you repeatedly from Chopper 6. We appreciate you giving us that view overhead tonight. Let's make note of the time. It's about 11 minutes after the hour. The game is over. It is a big win by the Eagles, the biggest win in franchise history. And we will be sitting here to see just how long police allow this celebration to go. Just less than 2 minutes left in the game, but the game is, for all intents and purposes, over, and the Eagles are celebrating already on the field. Let's go to Action News reporter Brianna Gallagher. She's live from Xfinity Live in South Philly. Or are we going back to Annie? All right, Annie is again in Center City, not far from that celebration at City Hall. And Annie, what do you have there?
Yeah, and you just heard John Paul explaining what he was seeing from the air. Of course, he's talking about those fireworks. He's also talking about the massive police presence. We're hearing right now on the scanners, they're moving, they're mobilizing quickly. Wherever they're seeing a problem, they're moving a group there. Right now, all the vehicular traffic stopped a little over an hour ago in certain areas of the city. If you're on 676, you can't get off any of the Broad Street exits. You're also going to see a number of road closures around Center City, also up in the Northeast and in South Philadelphia as well. But look at how much the crowd has grown since I just last was on with you about 8 minutes ago. Already you can see there are so many people, the people that wanted to watch the last moments of the game. I guess since there's less than 2 minutes, there's still a few of them inside, but they're all spilling out here. And again, you know, like John was saying, they had a new approach in a sense, or recalibrated how they were going to handle festivities considering all the things that happened just 2 weeks ago. And the thing with Eagles fans is, if you grow up here, I mean, this is your team. Even if you're not a huge sports person, you grow up with the Eagles being your team, and you want to celebrate with your family, with your friends, because when you're from here, this is your team, and this is all that you know. And there's so many people that have traditions and celebrations, and have people who they've lost that they're thinking about that are up in heaven. I know my stepfather, his anniversary of his death is tomorrow, and tonight I knew that they were going to win. I knew the 10-year anniversary, this is going to be it. There's so many people like me that are in this situation that right now are out on Broad Street. They're looking for each other. They're looking for their friends and their family because they want to celebrate this moment together. And the city wants you to celebrate too, but responsibly and safely as well. As you can look down closer to City Hall, you can see down to about Broad and Walnut right now. It looks like the crowd is really condensed. The crowd is growing down here to Broad and Spruce. It's here at Broad and Spruce that Philadelphia police have their tactical gear on, and they have barricades that are up, so you cannot even walk below Broad and Spruce in the street. They've completely blocked that off. That is something that is different than 2 years ago when I was up here when we lost the Super Bowl. That is something that is a little different. But you can see far up that those fireworks are going off. I can hear on the scanners they're trying to locate where those fireworks are coming from. That's something that they want to shut down. The concern with the fireworks, as beautiful as they may look, is that these aren't professionals setting them off, and they're also near a number of apartment buildings in this area, and that is a concern. It is a fire concern as well. Another reason why you also have fire trucks that are positioned in different areas, and also medics as well. But the crowds continue to spill out. I can also hear the drones above me. I know at least one of them is a police drone as well. There are different requirements that you have with the FAA that you can't fly them unless in certain situations, unless it is law enforcement. So they're using those. They're also going to have the horses out, the mounted unit out. One horse, I always say this, can move 100 people easily. So they're going to be having all of those things in place, all of those tools that they can have to make sure that this celebration can be done as safely as possible. But just even in the past few minutes that I've been on, look at how many people now are filling up there. I bet you in the next 5 minutes, all the way down to the Wilma, which is at Broad and Spruce, it's going to be packed with people. So it'll be interesting to see how police continue to move people around, because there's still a number of closures that they're having on the streets between up until Spring Garden and 16th down to Lombard. So there's going to be a lot of different ways that they're going to be trying to move and funnel people in different areas to make sure that there's not too much of a concentration. That is one of the goals that police have. And again, there's a wall of police in tactical gear standing in front of metal barricades that have already been put in place at Broad and Spruce. I am sure that that is something that you're seeing on the other side of Broad as well. I don't know specifically which street they're doing that on. I'm sure that John Paul might have a bird's eye view of that once he's up in the chopper. And I forget who is down from our team at down on South Broad Street as well. But I'm sure that they're going to have barricades there in places too. But oh my gosh, in just the past couple of minutes, look, there's so many people coming out here. The pictures being taken in front of City Hall. This is the moment, this is the time that people can say, I was there, I was on Broad Street when the Eagles won. I mean, you grew up here, I think in my lifetime, I was born in 1979, the Eagles went to the Super Bowl 5 times. This is their 5th time in the Super Bowl. And just knowing where you were every single time that they were in it, even if they didn't win, just the excitement of being in the Super Bowl, so incredibly important to be with all of your friends and family if you can. Again, if you're out here, be safe, be careful. We'll check back with you in a few.
Annie, the final score now, the game over, 40-22. The Philadelphia Eagles are your 2025 Super Bowl champions. Just a huge deal from outside on Broad Street. Let's head down Broad Street to Xfinity Live, the sports complex. Brianna Gallagher inside as this game wraps up. Brianna, take it away. What's going on?
Hey, Sarah, I'm stepping aside so you guys just have a clear view of this victory right now. I mean, this is the moment that we have been waiting for. This is our redemption game. Just take a look at fans as they are celebrating. I mean, we kind of got a feeling early on that we were going to win. We still had a sliver of nerves because we can't be fully confident, but man, the crowd just knew. We're seeing people standing on the tables, hugging, kissing. We're also seeing a lot of people closing out their tabs because while the party has been here all night for the Super Bowl, we all know, as Annie has mentioned multiple times, the party is going to be on Broad Street. We are starting to see the crowd thin out just a little bit. We did not see gaps here earlier tonight, and we are starting to see gaps, and that's because everyone that we talked to here tonight, they're going to celebrate this victory on Broad Street. We've also seen Xfinity preparing for this celebrations, popping champagne. They've covered a lot of their equipment with plasticware as the celebrations continue here tonight. I mean, this is the moment that we've been waiting for. We've been so excited for this. Looking back on their season, they've just played absolutely phenomenal. An incredible team, totally different team than what we saw in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Nick Sirianni is talking right now to fans. He's emotional, obviously, but the confetti is flowing. Fans are cheering. It's an emotional night. I'm not going to lie. My heart has been racing all night. I know we've been doing so well, but it's just a moment that you're so proud of and so happy for our team and this victory. It really is incredible. I can hardly hear myself think because of how loud it is in here right now, as you guys can imagine, and the viewers are watching at home. I mean, we have some of the best fans. They're singing the Eagles fight song right now. I'm sure you guys can hear everyone singing. It really is a special moment to be a part of. Here we go. Now, just remember this sea of green right here, because in a few minutes, I mean, the crowds are going to be pouring out to Broad Street. We talked to some people who said the way that they're getting to Broad Street is they're walking. Only a 30-minute walk, give or take, you know, if you take a brisk, walk to Broad. But, these crowds are going to be flowing out of here, flocking to Broad Street. That's where they want to celebrate. This is where they want to celebrate the win. I mean, we have the best fans. We got people on top of the bars right now dancing. Again, a lot of hugging and celebrating. I've even seen some tears. Might be hard to see from our vantage point, but when you just talk about how proud we are, how far we've come, it's just great. And I know Annie's going to see all of these people here are going to be on Broad in just a matter of minutes. Sarah, Rick.
Brianna, thank you very much. Yes, it's going to be a long night, perhaps an early morning for all of those people who are celebrating what is perhaps the biggest win in Eagles history. We're taking a live look once again now from Chopper 6. The crowd continues to swell here in Center City, right outside City Hall. We heard from Annie McCormick of all the people who have been emptying the bars and restaurants in Center City. This obviously is ground zero for tonight's celebration. We have Action News reporter again, John Paul, who is live in the chopper, watching the crowds grow and hopefully watching people stay safe. We did see one person who did try to climb up a light pole. We're not sure what happened with that situation, John. But again, fill us in on what you're seeing at this hour.
Well, Rick, it's like the 4th of July up here. I got to be honest. I mean, I have a bird's eye view of the entire Delaware Valley, it feels like. I can see all around me there are fireworks everywhere I look. It's almost like the 250th anniversary here. This is what it's going to be like in 2026. Let's take a look down on Broad Street. I'm going to show you how things are looking right now. And it's really genius what the police have been doing. They are going ahead and they're kind of splitting up the crowds. They're keeping them separated just a bit. So you can see we've got this group down here. This is on Broad Street. And they have just been growing and growing minute by minute as we're just pushing in on this. And they're celebrating. I mean, everybody is so excited. They just found out the final score. The game is over. We are the champs. And we have just been watching the crowds grow and grow. A sea of green out there. And the police have been kind of doing a standby at this point. They're letting people have their fun. But we do know that there would be a point when they move in, when they call it, is kind of how they phrase it. When they say, okay, enough's enough, and then they move in. They have not done that yet. I mean, the game just ended, but they're kind of, at every crosswalk, you see a line of police, and they kind of keep these crowds separated. And this is right here in front of City Hall, and you see the crowd has grown. I'd say it's almost doubled now in the last 15 or 20 minutes. Everybody lighting off those fireworks. It really is everywhere you look. Fireworks going off all around City Hall. Over in West Philadelphia and South Philadelphia, there were a ton of fireworks out by the Link, and they're still going off right now as more and more people flood into the streets to celebrate this amazing victory, this resounding victory. They really made a statement with that game, and now they're making a statement in the streets. We've only seen one person so far climbing a pole, and I think they might have gotten down at this point, because the police made it very clear they're not going to be putting up with that. So that's what it's looking like from up here. Mainly fireworks. Hey, it's the 4th of July, basically. And just a reminder, there are a ton of streets closed all around Broad Street in Center City. Also up in Frankfurt and Cobham, we're seeing they brought in the dump trucks to protect the crowds. They're keeping the crowds in the streets, but they're trying to keep it as safe as they can. Rick, Sarah?
All right.
John,
Thank you, John.
Appreciate your bird's eye view there. We want to go south now to New Orleans, where the Eagles have been declared the Super Bowl champion. Our team, Shari and Brian, you guys were there, so excited. I know you witnessed it as the Chiefs fans sort of gave up on all of it in the third quarter. They knew what was coming, it seemed.
They went home early.
Yes, I saw them walking out during the third quarter. But they're not the story tonight. Tonight is the Philadelphia Eagles, and these fans are in their seats.
They are loving it.
And they are on cloud nine.
Yeah, I mean, this game, I know we've talked about it from the get-go here. It felt dominant right out of the gate.
Yeah.
The Eagles got that first touchdown. It was called back, but then they got it right back again. And then they never slowed down. It was almost like Kansas City never got off the bus.
Yes, we were like, is Kansas City here? But maybe it's just the Eagles just came here tonight to be relentless.
Yeah.
Because from the gate, they were on it, and they never took their foot off the gas.
Hey, Brian, we're gonna talk to this gentleman down here. How about some live reaction on the air right now? Hey, sir, what's your name?
Mark Lynch.
Where are you from?
Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Talk to me about this moment, what it means to have watched this.
It was amazing, amazing moment. After 2 years ago when we lost like that, to come back and win like this, it was beautiful, beautiful thing. We're a good team, top to bottom, really good team. Offense, defense, special teams, coaching. We were confident we would win, but we didn't want to really believe it until it happened.
Yeah. Does it feel like redemption?
I'm sorry? Oh, redemption? Yeah. Redemption, very much so. It was very heartbreaking 2 years ago for us to lose.
Finally, we've been talking about the fact that this may have been the biggest win in Eagles history. I mean, obviously back in '52, that meant so much to get that win. But tonight, the size of this win over this historic team, and to have sat in this seat and watched that. Talk to me about that.
It was so wonderful to see them play so well. They really played up to their potential. They had a great strategy, great plan, and they executed on it. And they couldn't have done a better job. They really could have. And it's been a great couple of years, and hopefully we can start our own dynasty now.
They're already celebrating back home. Are you going to celebrate in New Orleans? What are you going to do tonight to celebrate?
Well, our hotel's just off Bourbon Street, so we got to walk home that way.
Hey, congratulations. Thanks very much. Enjoy the night. I mean, the sentiment here is just absolutely off the charts. And to your point before, yes, Kansas City fans were flowing out of the stadium in the third quarter. We knew then that this was going to happen, but not a single Eagles fan has left yet.
Yeah, right. Take a look. Right here you can see the fans are in their seats. They are waiting to see that Lombardi trophy hoisted. We haven't seen that since the 2017 season. And they say once you get there, you get spoiled. You want it again.
It's funny because we were there for Super Bowl 52, and we talked about the albatross that was around the communal neck of this team and the city, really, because took so long to get to that point. It felt so good. This feels different. It feels like recognition of the fact that this franchise has become something spectacular. And to this gentleman's point who we just talked to a moment ago, this team could be on its way to becoming an absolute dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, why not? We've got all the pieces. We made a few adjustments, and here we are 2 years later. We're back in the big game. And not only are we back in the big game, we won big. Huge.
You know what I loved watching? I'm going to step back into the shot here. I love the fact that they put in the backup quarterback at the end of the game because Jalen Hurts had already been doused with Gatorade several minutes before the game. The game ended. And there's so much joy on the sideline and so much joy in this room. And one of the things that really hits me as a dad is watching all these fathers and sons and mothers and daughters who are, around us hugging each other. And it's just a really special, happy moment.
The Eagles chants were nonstop during the game because we scored so many times. And the Eagles chant still going strong tonight. And one of the anthem songs for the season, Blow the Whistle. They're playing that over here in the loudspeakers at the Superdome.
I don't know how apparent it was to the folks who were watching the game at home, but when we talk about the sheer number of fans who left early, this place is still absolutely filled, which means we had more Eagles fans here tonight than we did. Way more Eagles fans than Chiefs fans.
We knew we did.
Hey, a lot more to come from here as the night continues. We'll send things back to the studio, Rick and Sarah.
All right. Brian and Shari,
thanks, guys.
Thank you. We want to get back to Broad Street, where it looks like there are now some confrontations breaking out, things getting a little dicey as we're looking live right now at what looks like a fight happening and some of the barricades down. We did see police pushing back those barricades against some of those
we've been watching
in the
here,
crowd.
This is
John, go ahead.
Not
what are
far
you seeing?
From Broad. It looks like the crowd has broken over those barricades and a fight broke out in the center of your screen. We've been watching people throwing fists, and we're also seeing them move those barricades there as well. As I have not said, there's some police on the right of the screen here. I don't know if they're trying to make their way in there, but there are crowds of people moving these barricades here on Chestnut Street. You know, the police have been kind of funneling them on the road, keeping them off the sidewalk, and they've started to break free of that. And now you can see they're kind of spilling over as this crowd has been growing and growing here as we're watching. We'll pull out just a bit here on Chopper 6. You can get an idea how close we are to Broad Street. You know, these are a lot of people who have been coming out of the bars, spilling into the street, making their way toward Broad Street. And this is just a sea of people. They can barely move at this point. But they've moved those barricades out of the way. Looked like there was a kind of a tussle, a fight going on in the crowds. And looks like still police are kind of letting people party, and they're not really intervening at this point. But that's what we're seeing right here from Chopper. The crowds are definitely growing as we are watching them flood out into the streets. You can see it's almost gridlock of people. People can't move. There are so many people here. Fireworks still going off, that is for sure. Police kind of have the area surrounded, and they're letting people do their thing at this point. We did see one of the police vehicles that was surrounded by some of the crowds, and it was trying to move, but there were just too many people. So we're watching this grow and grow and grow. We'll see how long police let this go. Rick, Sarah?
All right, John, thank you. Stand by. We will continue to come to you there from Chopper 6. But again, as you mentioned, and we've been reporting, Philadelphia police wanted to put in a new plan in place to prevent some of the unsafe procedures that took place after the NFC Championship. We will stand by. We'll watch this all night to see if those plans have been implemented and if they are certainly succeeding. We're going to go live now to South Philadelphia. Actually, reporter Chad Padelli is standing by, I believe, on Washington Ave, Chad, where a lot of folks plan to head up to City Hall, correct?
Rick, I'll tell you what, the party is on and the sports complex is emptied out, and you got a sea of green making their way down to City Hall. Take a look. You got officers here on the sidelines letting everyone do their thing, but everyone is making their way down Broad Street. Everyone is pumped. People are hanging out of their vehicles. They're celebrating. They have the flags out. And what a performance by these Eagles. We didn't leave it for the refs to take control. No, this Eagle team dominated this game, and these fans are certainly hyped. Been several years since they had their last Super Bowl victory. They're taking it all in, and you know, people young and old are making their way here through Center City, South Philadelphia, on their way to Center City. You know, I have a bunch of friends. They came down here with their families. They're going to be celebrating here tonight. It's an experience that you can't imagine unless you're part of it. And Super Bowl victories don't come that often, as we know. And so this is certainly a special time to enjoy the festivities, enjoy that dominating win, and just have a good time out here. You look at all the police officers, they're just basically staying on the sidewalks. They are just sitting tight. They're letting people do their thing. They want people to be safe. So, you know, obviously those that are going to make their way out here tonight, be safe, don't climb the poles. Be careful in the vehicles because we do have some traffic, but as you can see, hundreds and thousands of people are making their way down Broad Street, making their way to City Hall. I was talking to some other fans. They were so hyped, but they were a little bit superstitious during the game. That was a dominating performance. They didn't want to talk about Broad during the game. They wanted to get the victory first, and then they said they would make their way out here, and that is certainly what all these fans are doing. It's just amazing, if you look down here towards South Philadelphia, how many people are making their way from the sports complex. People are just coming out of their homes, coming out of the bars, and enjoying a great time in the festivities of a Super Bowl victory, and another one for Jeffrey Lurie, and certainly another one for this city. And of course, we're going to have the parade later on next week, and we can't wait for that. But this is going to be a long night, a lot of celebration. Hopefully, people take it easy. They don't do anything stupid. They be safe. And we can just enjoy this and do it in a safe manner. As you can see over here, you got a car right here. It's stuck. You know, you have fireworks going off in the middle of the roadway. This is what police get worried about, is when vehicles start making their way into large crowds. And that can be a dangerous situation. So certainly something that police will have to keep an eye on as this night progresses. But as you can see, this is just getting started. This bad boy is going to be going on for several hours likely, until police say that's enough. Time to move in, begin to disperse the crowds. But I don't think that's going to be happening for at least an hour or two, as long as people are safe and do what they need to do to enjoy it in a peaceful manner. As you can see, people shooting off fireworks all over the place. But I'm just shocked at how many people are coming down Broad Street. I mean, it's literally a wave of people just making their way down here. And you can hear the crowd. Just a spectacular situation. And, you know, one we're just going to take in and enjoy at this time. You know, Travis Kelce likes to say, you got to fight for your right to party. Well, this Eagle team fought for the right to the party, and they're doing it tonight as the fans are just going to take this in and enjoy another Super Bowl victory. But from now, this is what we have out here. Things seem pretty peaceful down here in South Philadelphia. I know he had some fights breaking out a little bit north, but hopefully that'll be few and far between and some isolated incidents. But so far it seems like the crowds here are just doing what they got to do. You got the Eagle chants. I mean, it's deafening out here. Earlier tonight, you had people, they were literally hanging out of their vehicles. They were in the sunroofs. They were enjoying themselves, and police were just trying to make sure they slowed down. And now, you know, they're trying to cut off some roads. You can see Washington's now getting cut off. They're not letting any traffic go through here. And that's certainly something they want to, you know, make sure they do as the night progresses and the crowds begin to swell. And you get those crowds and vehicles, and those certainly don't mix. So something that police will have to keep an eye on. But so far, at least down here in South Philadelphia, seems like the atmosphere is jovial, but being safe, at least to this point. I don't see a lot of people climbing on the poles. Obviously, we had that tragedy a couple of weeks ago. So, you know, police and the mayor, they really were stressing over the past 10 to 14 days to celebrate, enjoy it, but don't climb the poles and do anything that may put you in harm's way. You can see the fireworks now going off down there towards City Hall. And we've seen quite a bit of that going up and down here Broad Street, as you can see, also coming from South Philadelphia as well. And then you have some people in the apartments over here. You can see a little bit of confetti here. But you got some people just taking it in on their apartment complexes, staying warm, getting a bird's eye view, and enjoying another Super Bowl victory. I'll send it back to you guys.
And Chad, just north of you, up by City Hall, that's just a crush of people. So many people, it's hard to imagine all these thousands and thousands of people being added into that. Thank you for your report from there. We're going to go up north to that area, closer to City Hall. And
all right,
we're not going to do that. We're going to go to Deuces Rogers. He is live on the field with Sal Paolantonio as the Eagles had this decisive victory. Deuces.
Hey, Deuces.
Hey there, yeah, the celebration has begun. We're here with ESPN's Sal Paolantonio. Sal, you were on with us last night during our special. You felt this one coming, huh?
Well, I thought that they could get after Patrick Mahomes. No one anticipated they would be able to do it like this. To rush for most of the game and not blitz, and to have that defensive line over and over and over again beat the Chiefs' offensive line was truly remarkable. And I thought that this turf, remember I said the turf would be an important factor because it's a quick turf and they've got a fast defense and a young defense, and they beat the Chiefs off the ball all of the time, Deuces.
This was a dominant performance by the Eagles. Let's talk about the offense for a little bit. How good was Jalen Hurts today? Other than that one interception, how good was Hurts?
Hurts was really accurate with the football. He got blitzed on that one play that caused the interception, but he also got himself out of bad plays and into good ones. A touchdown, obviously, to A.J. Brown was the biggest example of that. So I thought he was decisive. I thought he was careful with the football, except for that one turnover. And then he was able to see the holes in the middle of the Chiefs' defense and just shot himself out of a cannon several times for key first downs.
It had been reported that Jalen Hurts' screensaver was him 2 years ago at the Super Bowl with the confetti of the Kansas City Chiefs coming down while he was walking off the field. How badly do you think he wanted redemption tonight?
I think he wanted it really badly. I just watched one of the most powerfully emotional moments I've ever seen after a Super Bowl. Avarian Hurts, Jalen's dad, and Jalen hugging and crying together. And I asked Mr. Hurts, I said, considering all your son has gone through, the adversity, what does this moment mean to you? And he said it was redemption.
Howie Roseman. They won a Super Bowl back in 2017, got to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Now they've got a championship team right now. How good of an executive is he with the way he built this team?
Deuces, Howie Roseman should be executive of the year. He stole Saquon Barkley from the rest of the National Football League. He drafted Jalen Carter, the most dominant defensive lineman in the NFL, has been double-teamed most of the year and caused most of the disruption in this football game. He drafted Quinyon Mitchell and Deshaun Cooper. So I think he should be the executive of the year. To reconfigure the team, basically tear down the defense, bring Fangio back, stroke of DJ. I'm going to say this right now to the entire Channel 6 audience. If Vic Fangio was the defensive coordinator in Super Bowl 57, the Eagles would have won Super Bowl 57.
I like that. Let's speak more about the defense right now. We're hearing from Brandon Graham. This may or may not be his last season, but let's now hear from Brandon Graham on the Super Bowl victory.
We came back, baby. Came back for this moment. So thankful. Man, these boys, everything we've been working on, Hank showed up in a big way. I'm so proud of one. Everybody can stop talking that. So happy. So happy.
Hey! So great. And he deserves it. I mean, obviously, the defense overall is the MVP, but they scored 40 points. Unbelievable.
Sal, last question.
I said on Channel 6 last Monday they would score 37 points. And I knew they could move the ball against the Chiefs. They would be dominant in terms of moving the ball, but I never thought that they would be this dominant against Patrick Mahomes II. What Fangio and this defense did will go down in history as one of the greatest defensive performances in Super Bowl history.
Last question before I let you go. I know you got to go back over to ESPN. You've been around the team all week long. What was the sense you got with them in terms of their confidence heading into this game?
Well, as Nick Sirianni said on Saturday, my team is hungry and we are ready to roll. I never thought this team was as this confident, but they were. Last night, I was told in the team meeting, Deuces, that there was no emotion. Player after player after player got in front of the team. Jalen Hurts and Zach Bond and A.J. Brown, and just delivered a business-like message to the team. We're here to win this game. We're here to dominate this game. And they went out and did that.
They certainly did. Sal, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. What a victory for the Philadelphia Eagles tonight here in New Orleans, capturing Super Bowl 59. I got to give props to Devontae Smith as well, winning a Super Bowl. He grew up just about 60 miles from here, about an hour from here in Amite, Louisiana. Had a touchdown tonight. He was dealing with a bum hamstring all week long, was limited. He showed up. A.J. Brown showed up. Cooper DeJean, a pick six on his birthday. Saquon Barkley, 50-something yards, 40 yards receiving on his birthday. They're all Super Bowl champions, and I'm sure they're celebrating back there in Philadelphia, guys.
Yes, they are, Deuces. Thank you. We'll be coming back to you momentarily. But yes, the Eagles made it look easy in the Big Easy, that's for sure. And the celebrations continuing to unfold tonight. Let's go to another one as we keep an eye on Broad Street. Action News anchor Walter Perez standing by in Mayfair with a celebration there. Hey, Walter.
Hey, guys, I want to introduce you to a few thousand of my best friends over here. What do you guys think about tonight? My goodness. These guys are very excited. Now, I want to talk to a couple people. What's your name, buddy? Bobby. Hey, Bobby. So tell me what you thought about the whole thing tonight in terms of how the game went. Did you expect it to be a blowout?
I couldn't believe that KC didn't get one first down for the whole half. And put some respect on Jalen Hurts. This team's the new dynasty, the Midnight Green. Eagles are the best team right now. They're going to win 2 more Super Bowls.
And that's the thing about it, because they're so young, they're going to be good for a long time. Come here, buddy. Come here. Now, be honest, did you think it would be a blowout like that?
See, I joked around. I said it's going to be a blowout by the end of the first half. I didn't think it would show up 40-6. Yo.
So, let me ask you this. Last season didn't look too good. Did you lose faith in the head coach?
I think we all definitely questioned a little bit his decision making in certain decisions and, you know, certain times. But hey, man, we approve a kind of city, and he proved it time and time again.
Right.
Look where we are now, Super Bowl champs.
Very good. All right, we're having a lot of fun here. There's a whole lot of people. We're packed in, but everybody behaving for the most part. Reporting live from Mayfair, Walter Perez, Channel 6 Action News.
An intrepid Walter Perez in the scrum.
No.
Yes. Frankfurt and Cotman. All right. The other celebration going on right now. Annie McCormick above the crowds there on Broad Street. Annie, we saw that surge from Chad's angle of people heading up Broad Street in droves. Is the crowd still getting bigger there behind you?
It is, but I can tell you the crowds that Chad was talking about, at least from my viewpoint, what they're doing, let me explain this a little bit better, is if you are looking from the air, it's going to look like crowd and then a space of street with nothing on it, police on either side, and then crowd and repeat. That is how they're keeping the crowd control going here. So where I am at Broad and Spruce Streets, there is a stoppage of pedestrians on Broad Street. There's a big stoppage up until Pine Street. That's when you see your next crowd. So that gives you an idea. But take a look behind me at 10 o'clock, just to give you an idea of how long it took for Broad Street to fill up. At around 10 o'clock, we saw a concentration of people between City Hall up until probably about Chestnut Street. Now, here at Broad and Spruce, it's completely packed. So we're still hearing more of those fireworks that they do not want people setting off. We're seeing more people now actually spilling out onto the side streets because there's just not enough room in this area of Broad Street. So that's why they strategically put a number of those vehicles from the streets department, the trash trucks and whatnot, on a lot of those side streets. So if you're walking down 15th Street, if you're walking down 13th Street, you're going to see a lot of those streets department vehicles that are put there in purpose so that it will get people to move away and to walk away around it. Additionally, since there are road closures in numerous parts of the city to keep vehicular traffic off the streets, they're also going to be funneling pedestrians onto different streets as well, so they can try to keep the crowds moving. The crowds that Chad were talking about, if they're walking up still, and actually as Chad was talking about the fireworks, I could see each firework that was going off from around here. You're going to begin to see more and more people that are going to be pushed off onto a lot of those side streets right now. That's how they're going to continue to try to control these crowds. Back to you.
All right, Danny, thank you. Let's stand by. We'll be coming back to Broad Street throughout the evening. We want to go back to New Orleans and check back in with Deuces, who has some special guests celebrating as well. Hey, Deuces.
Hey there, Rick. Yes, we got father and son, Jeremiah Trotter and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. First of all, what does this moment feel like for you?
Man, it's hard to put into words, but I'm grateful. I thank God for the opportunity and this blessing me to be able to come out here and get a win my rookie year. I think my teammates, just going out there fighting their butt off all game and all season. We had a great group of guys, and we were able to, all that work we put in throughout the whole year just pays off.
Offense, defense, and special teams. Did you expect it to be that dominant?
I was very confident in my guys. I know the type of team and the type of talent, and just also like the mindset we have as far as our preparation every single week. I know what we had in that locker room, so I'm not surprised by, the way we came out here and played. But a credit to the Chiefs and the guys that they have. They have a great team, great guys. But I'm just glad we came out here and execute our game plan.
Trot, how proud are you right now?
Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Man, we back on top, man. We got that thing back at the crib. I'm excited, man. Obviously for Junior, for the entire Eagle Nation, man, the team. Just so happy, man. Philly fans, y'all deserve it, man. Y'all deserve even more. Y'all gonna talk cash noise at least until September.
What's it like for a father watching his son win the Super Bowl?
Man, it's amazing, man. I was nervous right before game time, but once we got started, man, and I would like to sit here and say, yeah, I saw it coming. Nobody saw this butt whooping coming. Nobody. But the defense went out and did the same thing they've been doing all year, be consistent, the top defense in the league, and Jalen played like Jalen, man. He's an MVP. Now all the haters can shut up. All the Dallas Cowboys can suck it. And just excited, man, excited. It's a big, great moment for everybody.
Let me ask about the quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Why is he so calm and cool under these pressure situations?
Man, that's just how he is. Some guys, they don't have it, but he's one of those guys that has it. He never gets too high, never gets too low. Stays a steady ship. And I feel like that really is contagious around the whole team. The whole game, our mindset, even when we went up a few touchdowns, just, staying steady. Going the whole game into that final whistle, and then we celebrated.
That moment in, I believe, the second quarter, maybe the first quarter, but it was 3 plays in a row. It was a sweat sack, and then the Cooper DeJean pick six. How big of a key moment was that in the game?
Oh, no, it was a great play. Sweaty, he's a dog. He went out there and balled. Coop went out there and balled, made a big play, and then we just, Zach Vaughn had a big pick. But just our defense we had a whole bunch of guys out there making plays, flying around. I couldn't be happier for them.
Dad, once an Eagle, always an Eagle?
Hey, I bleed green, baby. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, guys, go enjoy it. Congratulations, man. Super Bowl champs. Oh. All right, I believe now we've got some sound from head coach Nick Sirianni. Sirianni, who is about to enter his last year of his contract, he's going to get paid. They're going to keep him around for a while. Here's head coach Nick Sirianni on the victory.
The best thing is it takes all everybody, and that's what you're proud of. That a group of guys gets together and fights through and ups and downs of the season. We did it our way, the way we knew how to win, and didn't really care about anything else.
Now we're going to take a look at video of the Vince Lombardi Trophy being presented to the Philadelphia Eagles, their second Super Bowl title in the past 8 years. They had it in 2017 in that great victory in Minnesota over Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, and now they have it tonight over the mighty Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs were going for the three-peat, trying to be the first team to win 3 straight Super Bowls. The Eagles slay the dragon. The Eagles are now Super Bowl 59 champions. Rick, Sarah?
Deuces, you need to find some beads and put them on because it's going to be a long night there on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. I guess you heard me. All right, let's go back live now here at home as the celebrations continue to unfold. But again, an army of police standing by, letting the celebrations unfold for as long as they deem it safe.
Chopper 6 is over the scene here, and John, you're up in the chopper over this scene right now. It does seem now police have stood back, but now as this gets maybe a little bit more out of control, they're climbing vehicles. Police are taking some action, moving in, trying to get control of this. What are you seeing?
So this is Chestnut Street right here. This seems to be kind of the epicenter. Usually we're used to seeing Broad, but as Annie was showing you, there's those breaks in the action all down Broad Street. So Chestnut is where this is all going on. This looks like a dump truck. They brought in a lot of these dump trucks to just block traffic off. You can see all the people sitting on top of it. Now let's just go to the south, Max. Let's pan down. So you see the officers there in yellow. They're there because as we go down further to the south, you'll see a police vehicle in the road. That right there, they're moving it out of the way. This was surrounded by people. They were climbing on top of it. This whole thing, it almost at one point looked like they were trying to tip it. And then you see the officers came rushing in. They surrounded it. They yanked everybody off. They cleared it out, and everybody kind of scattered from there. Now let's keep going south, and you can kind of see the crush. So now this is Broad Street. Broad Street obviously is kind of the epicenter, but we've been watching people filtering in on Chestnut. So we're going to keep going south, and you'll see more and more people. Now, right here, we're going to stop it right here because you see those light posts? they are on the inside of the perimeter so police can keep an eye on them. They don't want people climbing these things. So you've noticed they're keeping people in the streets away from the poles. Let's keep going south, and you can see more and more of what we are seeing from up here in Chopper 6. People just in the streets. Now, in some of these areas, they have moved those barricades out of the way. They've knocked them down and gone onto the sidewalks. And you see police here, that's a police motorcycle trying to get through as we're going further and further south. Well, this is actually, forgive me, this will be east. We're going east of Broad. Right here is 13th Street now. This is the intersection of 13th and Chestnut as you see these officers on the motorcycles kind of going through, keeping an eye on everything. But we really haven't seen much in the way of total chaos. We have seen that police vehicle surrounded, but the police moved in pretty quick, and they handled that quickly. We've seen a lot of fireworks. We saw people lighting off sparklers and Roman candles there at Broad and Chestnut, which seems to really be the epicenter as we're looking. It's just so many people, and you see the officers there. See these barricades on the left of your screen. They're trying to keep people off those sidewalks, and just in some areas, they've knocked them down. But you can see police are pretty calm in this area. Everybody's having a good time. So no real indication yet that they're going to shut it down, as the police commissioner said last week that they wouldn't be afraid to shut things down early if anything got too out of control. Now, there's a bus stop on the right there. You see people waving the flag. They're on top of these bus stops. Now, you may remember, I believe it was 2 years ago, there was a crowd of people on top of a bus stop, and it collapsed. A lot of people got hurt, and they're asking people not to climb on things. Anything higher than 6 feet, you can do a lot of serious damage if you fall. And so they're begging people not to do exactly what we're seeing on the screen here at Chestnut, right near Broad. So we'll see if the police end up moving in on this group here. But that's what we're seeing here from Chopper 6, guys.
It's just a crush of people, John. It's really hard to imagine moving around. And again, the people are up on those bus shelters now, exactly what authorities, city officials asked them not to do. So we will see if police move in there to remove them from that scene.
All right. Once again, the final score 40-22. Total domination by the Eagles. This is video of the Lombardi Trophy being presented to the team moments after the game is over. Everyone taking their turn to touch it, hold it. Look at all the confetti that was flying inside the Superdome. Just a night of celebration. They call it the Revenge Bowl, but it was revenge and then some for these Philadelphia Eagles. And yeah, this man right there, he had a great night, as did so many other players on tonight's Super Bowl 59.
And you can see the players there in the gear, the Super Bowl champion hats and t-shirts. And guess what? Your fans here at home would like their own. So we're going to go to Brianna Smith. She's live for us now in Brandywine, Delaware, where fans are already hitting up some of the stores, gathering some of that gear. Brianna, they've moved in, right?
That's right, Sarah and Rick. Fans brought the party here to Dick's in Brandywine, and many were in line at 9 p.m. to get their swag to flaunt tomorrow. And take a look at what they're buying. They have these gray t-shirts here, fan favorite, a lot of people buying it, and we're going to move around these fans. Everyone's so excited. They're dancing, they're smiling, they're doing the chant, of course. Let's bring you in here real quickly so we can show you some more. We have hats right on this table, people taking pictures in their hats. I want to buy one of these right over here, Sarah and Rick. Come on, it's a dance party. I got these hats. I want this one, though. This is the one that I'm going to purchase before I go here. All right, and let's quickly bring you around, and we'll show you some of the cups that you can get. Look at all the stuff you got.
Yeah, thank you. How you doing?
How does it feel to be an Eagles fan?
It's great to be an Eagles fan. Got to be loving the Eagles. Everybody, E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Thank you.
We can't have a live shot without the Eagles chant, right? Oh, we have a cutie pie, too. We have everyone of all ages here, right? I saw you dancing before. Want to do a little dance for us? Shake it. He's a cutie pie. Do you want to do the chant?
E-A-G-L-E-S-E-O.
Woo, good job. Eagles fans of all ages. Isn't this just amazing? I love their energy. We can't stop smiling. Everyone's so excited.
enthusiastic.
Brandon, if you see a large T-shirt, grab one for me. But yeah, the Super Bowl swag is out and is getting grabbed up, Sarah, huh?
All right, let's go live now to New Orleans. Christy Aletta with the fans down there celebrating this big win. Hey there, friend.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. It's been so exciting. At first, we were just seeing Kansas City fans leaving in the fourth quarter, and it was very quiet. And then all of a sudden, now all of our Eagles fans are out. And it's pretty much been like this outside of the Superdome since the trophy presentation. I mean, in here, you can just see a sea of green going down the ramp. It's been like this all evening. Everybody coming out of the Superdome, everybody repeating the chant on loop, and it's just so much excitement. A lot of people just saying, yes, we got the revenge. It was a complete blowout, and this is such a shared experience. If you look at the people that are here, it's children, it's parents, it's grandparents. It's something that you can do across all ages. It's something that we've just kind of rallied behind as far as a city, and it's so great to see that we travel so well, because when we were inside the Superdome, it was a sea of green, barely any red. Yep, they're shutting it down. They're shutting it down. We have the best fans out here. We literally have the best fans, and it's just like this all the time outside of the Superdome.
All right, thank you, Christy. That Kansas City fan, he's in for some trouble there. Let's go back to South Philadelphia now. And we are at the top of the hour, 11 o'clock. Our Action News coverage continues. Rick Williams, longest hour, Bloomquist. And now we're bringing in Chad Pradelli, who has been standing by on South Philadelphia, watching a parade of people march up Broad Street, heading to City Hall. The celebration continuing to unfold there, Chad.
Rick, I'll tell you what, I can't believe how many more people continue to flow down Broad Street. We're here at Broad in Washington, but if you look behind me, I mean, literally, it is a wave of people, and it continues and continues to make their way down towards City Hall. Fireworks have been going off nonstop. You heard some right there. So far, though, we haven't seen any chaos or anyone getting injured at this point. Police still standing on the sidelines, on the sidewalk, watching everyone, trying to direct some traffic, because you see there's still cars here trying to come down Broad, and you know, who knows where they're going, but they're trying to navigate through this sea of people, and it is a difficult situation. So I know police are trying to block off some roads, make sure some of these vehicles can get through in a safe manner, and make sure no one gets injured. But you can see the flags are out, the fireworks keep going off, and people are just having a good time and continue to just flow through here, and it doesn't seem like it's going to end. This is certainly not just a sports complex. That has long been empty. I mean, look at all the people coming down. It doesn't seem to be ending at any time soon. And of course, where Andy is down by City Hall, that place is jam-packed. So not, you know, very many places for these people to go. At a certain point, this is going to be a log jam down Broad Street, and I would imagine this entire stretch from Washington to City Hall will just be jammed with people. You can see some people over here dancing. Yeah, a couple people getting their groove on over there. And you hear more fireworks right there going off just to our right. If you look over here, you know, that can be dangerous. Not something police want to see, but what are you going to do? Too many people to control at this point, and police allowing people to do their thing. But obviously, that can be a very dangerous situation with so many people in this area. Haven't seen any people climbing the poles, at least down this way. Watching some of the coverage down by City Hall, you see some people getting on the poles, and again, city officials stressing people not to do that. So hopefully anyone making their way out here, don't do that. Just enjoy the night, you know, enjoy other people, have some cocktails, do your thing, but you know, be safe, because we don't want a tragedy like a couple weeks ago. But you can see the flags are out. People young and old making their way here down Broad Street, making their way down to Center City, and just enjoying themselves. You can see a few police cars, not many right here. I mean, we had a much heavier police presence, at least down here. I would imagine many of them have begun to make their way a little bit more towards City Hall in case they need to disperse crowds and disperse any problems that may happen that way. But it looks like it's going to be a long night. I mean, it's going to be a long night, and there's a lot of people they're looking to get their party on tonight, and they're making their way down here. I still just cannot fathom, though, how many people, though, are coming from South Philadelphia. I mean, it just never ends. I mean, you would think at some point that, you know, the crowd would lighten up a bit, but it is just getting heavier and heavier as the minutes tick and, you know, the time continues to pass by. But certainly a great time out here. Everyone having a lot of fun. There you got more fireworks there. And we're taking it in. We're enjoying it. We're certainly excited about the Birds and that dominating win. And going to have a good time out here tonight. We're here live at Broad in Washington. I'm going to send it back to you guys.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Chad. And ironically, it's Broad Street where the parade will probably take place and unfold later this week as well. Right now, we want to go to Chopper 6. We're looking live over the celebration that continues to grow here in Center City, right outside City Hall. We started looking at this just around a little bit after 10 o'clock. The game was still in progress, but once it was over, the crowd continued to swell, and we're looking at thousands and thousands of people continuing to pour in to Center City, Philadelphia tonight.
John, the situation here was getting a little dicey a little bit earlier ago. A little bit earlier, there was some pushing and shoving. Looks like they've torn down some no parking signs. Down by Chad, it was, you know, everybody was having a good time. Once they are coming closer to City Hall, are you seeing the behavior get a little more, you know, not what police wanted to see?
Yeah. So, yeah, we've seen a lot of that going on. So now, right now, we're seeing, you know, that no parking sign. This is JFK and Broad Street as we kind of made our way. We went down to South Philly. We're going to head back that way here in a minute, but this is surrounding City Hall. Let's pull out just a bit, and you can see, so this is on the north side of City Hall, and yeah, the crowd on the north side is not as big as the crowd on the south side. The south side of City Hall, that's really where the party is. So let's kind of spin it around and we'll show you what we're seeing down there. Obviously, police all around City Hall protecting it. There's Chestnut Street, there's South Broad Street. So we're going to kind of make our way down to South Philadelphia, and you'll notice these large intersections. That's Sampson and South Broad. You can see there's a crush of people there. Then you'll have a gap right here. This is Locust Street. Look at that crowd right there. As we keep going down to South Philly, there are more and more people, and this is just what you're seeing growing by the hour. Sarah, Rick.
All right, John, thank you, and continue to stand by there from Chopper 6. We'll be coming back to you momentarily. Let's go back to New Orleans, Sarah.
Yeah, Deuces Rogers standing by with another player here. Deuces, go ahead.
Yeah, one of those star rookies that the Eagles have, Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback. Quinyon, first of all, is this what you imagined it'd be like?
I mean, yeah, you know, just coming to this team, you know, knowing what this team in this city is about, man, nothing but great things, and we just got it done today.
The defensive line is going to get a lot of credit for those sacks they had up front. I believe they had 6 sacks. But how much does it help when you guys are doing your job on the back end to help those guys up front?
Yeah, we just want to be on one page, you know, everybody doing their job, everybody playing the same call, and yeah, just matching up and just getting the job done.
I remember talking to you on opening night back on Monday, and you were pretty calm. Yeah. You seem pretty calm right now. You just won the Super Bowl, my man.
Yeah, man. I'm just trying to take it all in, man. I got a whole lot of emotions that I'm holding in, man, but you know, I feel great.
How good do you feel for your tag team partner on the other side, Cooper?
Man, he got that pick, first pick of the season, biggest moment. You know, I feel like that pick 6, I feel like it kind of changed the game and gave us another spark.
It did. Sweaty had 2 sacks in a row, then you guys got that pick 6. Your quarterback, it's kind of like you, just like this the whole way. How does that help the rest of the team just kind of settle in?
Man, Jalen's a great dude, you know. Man, all the criticism he gets, man, he just goes out and wins. He's a hell of a ball player, hell of a quarterback, man, and he leads his team with great confidence.
One thing I noticed all throughout the week, guys were talking about this team felt closer than they were last year. And I know you weren't here last year, but there was like a closeness, like a family feel to it. What was done throughout the year, I guess even going back to OTAs, to basically develop that, and how did that help you guys throughout the season?
Yeah, man, just going through stuff together, you know, man, just hanging out in the locker room, man. Those guys play ping pong until like 8, 9, 10 o'clock, like go home. But man, it bonded us together, man, and it's one of the reasons why we won today.
Offense pulling for the defense and vice versa?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Special teams, too.
Yeah. How are you going to celebrate this?
I'm a party.
Go ahead. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it, man. Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Quinyon Mitchell, one of the stars of the defense, one of those young rookies. Think about this. The Eagles defense, one of the youngest defenses in the league. They're going to be a problem for a while for a lot of teams, but Quinyon Mitchell's a rookie. Cooper DeJean's a rookie. Jalen Carter's just in his second year wreaking havoc there in the middle. This defense is set up to do big things for a while. Then you got Josh Sweat, who's probably going to get paid coming up in the offseason. We might have a couple championships here in Philadelphia for years to come, guys.
Hard to believe they're rookies, man. Quinyon Mitchell, that guy was chill.
Yeah, like me a little bit, right? Right, Deuces? Yeah, all right, we got to go. Don't answer that. No, thank you. Let's go back to Brian. He's also at the Superdome with some special guests and obviously some very happy fans. Hey, Brian.
Hi, guys. I got to tell you, it's been a steady stream of fans that are leaving the stadium right now to begin the party on Bourbon Street. And this gentleman just stopped me and talked about what a joyful moment. How long have you been an Eagles fan for?
Oh, God, for about 40 years.
And you said to me tonight, this one is special. Why?
This is it because they showed that they are for real. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are for real.
Tell me where you got to watch this game from. Where were you sitting in here?
I was sitting up in the nosebleeds.
But you were here. That's what matters.
I was here. I've been to every season. I'm a season ticket holder, and I've been to every game this year. So it was time for them to win again.
Yeah. Are these your sons over here?
They're my nephews.
They're having a great. They're so proud to get to share this moment with you. And camera's right behind you. Tell me about sharing this moment with your family.
Oh, it's more than just a football game to us. It's our life. It's incredible. And the win, amazing. We've been waiting a long time for it since 2017, and here we are.
I got to tell you, it's just a special thing for me to get to share this opportunity with guys like you, and you're here as a family. Talk to me about your emotions right now.
So our dad had season tickets with my uncle since Franklin Field, and like my brother said, it's more than football. It's family. He's with us. Everyone who passed that isn't here right now has helped us get here, and so much more than football.
We bring him to every game.
He's with us right here every game.
Tremendous. It says in loving memory of Paul Morgieri, and he's here in spirit. Guys, thank you so much. I want to say, I'm sitting down. I'm not this much shorter than you guys, okay? Let's make that very, very clear. Hey, go have fun on Bourbon Street and bring him along, okay? Thank you very much. Hey, we caught up with Jordan Davis a couple of minutes ago down on the field. Here's what he had to say.
It's amazing. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears put into this year. It's a lot of opportunities where we could have failed, but we came together as a team. We came back stronger, played with a lot of passion, a lot of heart, and as we can see the results.
What did you say about the closeness of this team?
Y'all want to understand the work that we had to put in to get to this point. And, everybody just sees the finished product, but it's a lot of work that goes into it. It's a lot of demand that we demanded from ourselves. We held each other accountable. It's a player-led team. We have a great group of guys like that leads the team themselves, take charge. As we can see, the results is beautiful.
Your message to all those excited.
Oh, how cool is this? We love being here in the center of the action. We got to witness history here on the field, and now everyone's spilling out. So it's the party's on Broad Street back home. Of course, here, everyone's leaving to go just a few blocks that way and line up on Bourbon Street. Hey, Rich, take a look on the field live, okay? Right now, it's that very special moment after the game where the players are lingering, conducting interviews like the one you just saw. And other fans are getting the opportunity to go down on the field and scoop up some of that confetti. That is such a souvenir, such a special souvenir. I remember I grabbed some back in Super Bowl 52, and I'm going to be heading down to the field a little bit later tonight to get some from 59. More from here later on, guys. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Brian, thank you. Obviously, Mardi Gras is taking place in Philadelphia tonight. Have fun there in New Orleans, but the real party is in South Philadelphia as we continue to check out the scene right here. And Action News reporter Annie McCormick standing by, Sarah.
Annie McCormick standing by with some unruly behavior starting to unfold there on Broad Street. Annie.
Yeah, Sarah, you don't see me on camera. That's because we're trying to get a better look here. Ricky's zooming in because we do have some people that, again, are climbing. I can't see that far. However, it looks like it's around Broad and Locust on the east side of Broad Street. It looks like somebody is climbing something. I can't tell if it's a bus stop. You could actually probably see better than I can with the lens. Again, that is something that police have been trying to deter all evening. It is part of the plan that they put in place after we had so many issues just 2 weeks ago in celebrations as we were about to head to the Super Bowl. So in that area right now, police are focused, trying to move those people that are, whatever they're climbing on to get them down. I also want to show you, though, right here at Broad and Spruce, they've alleviated what was a crowd that was really swelling here at the intersection, and it's in this part that they do have police and tactical gear alongside metal barricades that they were keeping people at bay, and the crowds were getting so big that they were actually starting to push the metal barricades as well, and at one point it started to get a little bit of a hairy situation, but they did something to alleviate those crowds. So we're actually now seeing blacktop again, which is something that we've seen for the first time in probably about over an hour. So you can see how large the crowd is. So I'm at Broad and Spruce Street, and then all the way up to City Hall, you just have people, 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 people. Then you have a stop, a break in the crowd between Spruce all the way down to, I think it's down to Pine. You have absolutely no people. You just have police vehicles in the roadway. This is something that they're doing to try to control the crowds. And then when you get down closer to Chad, you see the same type of thing repeated. So when you see the crowds here, you can see you have little bursts of celebrations within the celebration. You see champagne popped, you see people waving their flags. What you're seeing here is not only people that spilled out from area bars, and obviously there's a lot of bars in this area because it's Center City, but also a lot of people who live here that watched at home or had family and friends out, but they wanted to come out here and join the celebration and be with the Eagles fans as well. A reminder, though, too, I have seen a lot of interactions with police, especially when down here things got a little rough and they were pushing the barricades. Just remember, a lot of these police officers, they're Eagles fans, too. And so we saw a lot of nice exchanges and interactions between police and the crowds as they're just trying to keep this celebration safe. We're still seeing a number of those fireworks going off. And you can see that a lot of times when they go off, you then see police pinpoint where exactly that firework came from, and then you see them move in. You also see fire trucks that are strategically placed out here along with medics too, so then that way they can quickly go and extinguish if need be, if there is a situation. So we'll see bursts of activity within the activity. We'll look over there, but nothing that's gotten too out of control yet, at least in this portion of the celebration. But as John Paul said, and John Paul really has the best view of all of us as to what the city looks like at this point, he's telling us that it's here, it's right here, that this is where the heart of the party is on Broad Street, between Broad and Spruce, all the way up to City Hall. You're also going to see those crowds spilling around the City Hall apron as well. That's why we hear they're calling for more barricades in different areas closer to Market. They're also trying to funnel the pedestrian traffic so that the pedestrian traffic doesn't become too much, so people don't get crushed. That's another reason why they have those streets departments vehicles, the trash trucks that are on a lot of the side streets, including, I'm looking over between Broad and 13th, you have trash trucks there too, trying to get those crowds to move along and then trying to move them along a number of those side streets as well. So again, they don't want you climbing on poles. They don't want anything like that happened just 2 weeks ago. That's why the city came together, sat down with police, and came up with just some tweaks to their initial strategies. We're no stranger to big celebrations. Philly can handle big celebrations. We've done everything from the Pope. We've done, other big Super Bowl wins before too. So they know what they're doing, but sometimes they just have to make some tweaks, and that's what they did leading up into the anticipated Super Bowl win that we have here tonight. And I can tell you too, again, right here, right at Broad and Spruce, we're starting to see blacktop again, and we're actually seeing movement within the crowd. That's a good sign. That's a good sign that there's places for people to move and go. Now, as you get up closer, personally, I don't think I'd want to be in the crowd going above Locust up until City Hall. There it seems really, really packed. That's not a crowd that I think I would want to be in. So you have a little bit more leeway here down to Spruce Street as well. But you know what? We talked about it before. People want to celebrate with each other because it means so much. The Eagles mean so much to so many people. We grow up with them. They're part of our lives. We remember the Eagles that are part of our own smaller communities. Like, we all know an Eagle that maybe was our neighbor or grew up in our community and the impact that they had and So there's just a huge camaraderie. There's so much family. We think about our family members that we lost. I mean, we're the type of fans that have celebrations and watch the Super Bowl sometimes in cemeteries. I'm not kidding. There's actually families that met up in cemeteries so they can watch it next to their loved one's grave. That's the type of fans that Eagles fans are. So, and I told you before, tomorrow's the 10th anniversary of my stepdad's death. I don't think it's a coincidence that they won on the eve of it. My whole family, our family text chain right now is going nuts about it. So there is that sense that you want to be together because this just means so much to Eagles fans. I think this is the 5th, I hope the statistic is right, since 1980, the 5th time that the Eagles have been in the Super Bowl. Looking at this crowd of people, think of all those ages here celebrating all of that. So that's the latest here from Broad and Spruce.
All right. Andy, thank you for your coverage there from Center City. We want to go back to the Big Easy, Sarah.
Yeah, we want to get right to Jalen Hurts, who is at the podium, your Super Bowl MVP. Let's listen.
Efficient in the pass game and do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. You know, and I think over the course of our year, you guys have heard me say it, just because we don't doesn't mean we can't. And when you hear a statement like that, I think it always comes down to, what is your mission? And why are you doing this? I'm doing it to win. You know, I do it to win. This team approaches it just to do the same thing, and that's what it's about. You know, I'm not going to look back at anything and remember anything that someone said about me or an opinion that was had. I'm going to think about the championships that we won.
Jalen, was there a moment in that game when it kind of becomes like, I'm over here, let's make a statement here, like we're doing this to one of the best teams, best franchises in recent memory?
No. It's about us. It's about us and how we approach things, and it's never getting too high, never getting too low, and just processing it. You know, you got to be able to use these experiences that you've had in the past because they're all formative for the future, and I think we've been able to do that. I think we've been able to do that. So I give a lot of credit too, man. I think just from a chemistry standpoint, that all those Georgia guys and all the familiarity we have on our team, how the defense plays, they've had that continuity for a very long time, and so I think they've been able to carry that on from Georgia to Philly. And honestly, the same thing on offense, being able to build off of prior relationships and be all in on this one thing, you know. And I know Saquon's new to the bunch, but we've all watched him play throughout his college career. We've always known the type of player he is, the best back of our time. And let's put it all together. Put it all together.
Hey, Jalen, David Andrade with Tico Sport. We saw you having a moment with your family after the win. What does it mean to them having this big win for you?
We'll see. I mean, I know everyone's excited. Everyone has been there along the journey, too. You know, everyone's been there along the journey. I think it's been a ride. It's been a fun ride, and I've embraced every step. I took great pride in never backing down from a challenge. Always turning my negatives into positives, turning my weaknesses and making them my strengths. And it's taken great effort and determination to evolve my game over time and just continue to grow and improve. And I know my family's been there every step of the way.
Jalen, Andrew Greenstein of Louisiana Radio Network. In college, the first time you played for the College Football Playoff Championship, or the BCS Championship, I should say, you lost that game. You were benched in the game that Alabama won. You went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. You didn't come out on top then. You finally come out on top now. Just talk about the perseverance. You were talking about your ups and downs earlier in this press conference. The perseverance now that you have finally made it to the top of the mountain.
It's not normal. So it's been a very unprecedented journey, and the journey's, you know, it's always the beginning until it's the end. And I think it means a lot. Quantifying all that work over the years, embracing everything, taking every challenge head on and taking every joy. And moment of achievement and success head on as well, and processing them all as one.
Hi, Jalen. Congratulations. So your phone screensaver has been you seeing the confetti drop on the tweets.
You know, and when I think about that, that wasn't even supposed to. You know, I told them I'm gonna start finding their ass in there. They had their phones out in the team meeting. You know,
but are you going to change it now that you have pictures of yourself in the confetti winning?
I don't know. Maybe it's something I need to stay there so I can come back here.
How important, Jalen, how important was it to jump out to such a commanding lead in the first half against the team that seems to always squeeze out close wins?
Well, I think for us, we've been able to win in the multiple ways, and it was just really about taking it a play at a time. You know, I look back on previous games and in the previous years, and you know, you want to put a high value on finishing, having great focus and finishing. You know, and think about the last time we were in this game. We were up 10 at halftime, and you know, they played a hell of a game to get back into it. And but we wanted to put a high focus on finishing it the right way, and it took a team effort.
Vicki Jones with VMH Sports right here. So Patrick Mahomes just said, literally a few minutes ago, he knew you would be back. That's one part, and how you feel about that. And the second part is you spoke of it again, purpose. If you've had a moment to think about it, or if you thought about it beforehand, how has this win added to your purpose? The first being, again, Mahomes, what he knew about you, and how this has added to your purpose.
I got a ton of respect for Pat and everything he's been able to accomplish. Always a pleasure competing against him. Utmost respect to him.
All right. We were listening to Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts talking about tonight's victory. Certainly a personal victory for him as well. But we also want to go to a different part of the Superdome, listening to Saquon Barkley also about tonight's victory.
Stats or records is cool, but you know, the best thing is to be able to hold that Lombardi trophy.
Saquon, how gratifying is it for you to be able to win a Super Bowl, you know, in your first year with your new team?
I mean, yeah, it took 7 years to get here. Some up and down, some injuries, but coming here and being part of this team, I remember the first time we were in the huddle, and I looked to my left and looked to my right, and you see all the Pro Bowlers and all the All-Pros on that roster and on that offense, and the defense. You know, I ain't gonna lie, I didn't know we were gonna have number one defense. It kind of makes sense now because with all the talent that we had, they gave us hell in practice and camp, but you know, it's a team effort. So just year one, and you know, why not start our dynasty now?
Talk about the group you had with yourself, with Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, your entire offensive line. A lot of talent on offense, and you're fulfilled with the Super Bowl championship.
Yeah, a lot of talent, but the beauty of this team is, you know, we all want to see each other succeed. And when you have, you know, all those guys and all those superstar names and all buy in to that mindset, buy into a team effort, that's how you get it, you know, that's how you become world champs.
Years from now, what will you tell your beautiful children about your birthday at the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I don't think she won't forget. Hopefully one day, maybe he's a football player or whatever he is. But you know, it's just happy to have this moment here and, you know, have my kids and my fiance. And I mean, it's my birthday. You know, celebrate with the kids, put the kids to sleep, and it's the off season now, so let loose a little bit.
You said it's like 40-6 or whatever it was. Were you at all shocked or?
No, not at all. Not at all. Coach allowed us to talk to the team, and I said it in the team meeting. As the week went on, my confidence built. I really don't think these guys can hang with us. We'll give a shout out to Spags and that defense over there. I kind of probably downplayed their run defense. They did a tremendous job. But you stop one thing, it's hard to stop the other. And yeah, so it wasn't a shock at all, but just try to stay locked in no matter what the score was. I was so locked in when we came in half, I didn't even know what the score was. And I just kept telling myself 0-0, stay here, stay even, and till the clock hit 0.
What was that moment on the sideline with Howie Roseman as they showed you on TV?
Yeah, I hugged him and I said, thank you for believing in me. And you know, one of our first conversations, he promised me that we're going to be here and the confetti's going to fall down on us and we're going to be smiling and hugging. So, you know, I'm thankful for the Eagles organization, everyone in it, but Howie really believed in me, and yeah, for sure.
You, Jahan, Whitehall, Nazareth, how big is this for the Lehigh Valley?
Yeah, I mean, it's big. We were talking about it. I think we were on the stage. 2 kids from Lehigh Valley playing against each other, now on the Philadelphia Eagles. And, our story's all different. He got traded. I signed here, and we were able to win a championship. Mommy's over there. Mommy's over there, okay?
You said earlier that the team helped you build back your confidence. How?
All right, you've been listening to Penn State's own running back Saquon Barkley, the former Giant, signing with the Eagles because he wanted to go to the Super Bowl. Well, he got there. Let's go back to the field. Sports director Deuces Rogers. Deuces, the big question of the night, where mommy go?
Yeah. I gotta tell you, you gotta love Saquon Barkley. As awesome as he is on the field, he's a terrific person off the field, but he just completed the greatest season for a running back in Eagles history. One of the greatest seasons we ever seen from an NFL running back. During the regular season, he had 2,000, don't want to shortchange him, 2,005 rushing yards, just the 9th player in NFL history to reach the 2,000 mark. In the postseason, I'm doing quick math here, I think something like 479 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns through 4 playoff games. He was absolutely phenomenal throughout the whole season. Certainly deserves his flowers. First year joining the Eagles, and he goes out a Super Bowl champion. All right, let's talk about Jeffrey Lurie. Since he bought the team back in 1994, he's been on a tremendous run. I believe it's 11 NFC East titles, 4 conference championships, and now he's got his 2nd Super Bowl title. Let's hear now from the Eagles owner, Jeffrey Lurie.
Just very proud to bring another world championship back to Philly, the best fans in the world, and just so proud of our players, our front office, everyone who works there. As I said up on the stage, it takes hundreds of people, a support staff, to have this culture and this result. And you can't know how satisfying it is to bring the greatest fans in the world another world championship.
It seemed like a real family this year, from top to bottom, and how much does that really affect an outcome like this?
So I'm going to tell you that our culture has been the same for a long time. It's a very unselfish family culture with very high standards, and everyone just wants to win big. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but from day one, everyone is determined to do our very best to bring world championship to Philly.
Can you imagine what's going on in Philadelphia right now?
I can imagine because we've seen it, and can't wait for that parade.
We cannot wait as well as we take a look at the locker room celebration, the Eagles locker room. You heard Jeffrey Lurie say it there. We heard the players say it all throughout the week. It's like a family atmosphere. Players actually absolutely enjoying themselves in the locker room, celebrating their Super Bowl championship. And for 4 Eagles on this team, Lane Johnson, Jake Elliott, Brandon Graham, and long snapper Rick Lovato. This is their 2nd title with the Eagles. They were the only 4 that were back on that 2017 team that won over Tom Brady's Patriots back in Minneapolis. So congratulations to the Eagles. Super Bowl I can't even believe it. It's like surreal. I can only imagine what the scene looks like back there in Philadelphia, guys.
Deuces, we can certainly give you a description, but quick question for you. They talked about three-peat, so much for that. Kansas City didn't even have 3 points at halftime, but I'm told, everything I'm reading on social media is that the Superdome looked a lot like the Link. I mean, the Eagles fans certainly outnumbered Kansas City fans, and Jeffrey Lurie can dance.
Yes, he's got some moves. Maybe Gilly taught him all that. I got to tell you, during the week, just the amount of people we saw on the street. Now, obviously, Eagles fans are louder than most fans, but it felt like it was a 3-to-1 ratio. I felt like it was 75% Eagles fans, 25% Kansas City Chiefs fans. When we got in this building, and it was during the introductions, and you heard this place went crazy, it felt like it was the Link. And now the Eagles are Super Bowl champs. The fans here are celebrating as well.
All right, Deuces, we're watching the celebration here, and quite a celebration in the locker room. Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, A.J. Brown, all dancing around with the Lombardi trophy right here. Don't drop it, anybody.
They're not going to drop it, that's for sure.
the excitement. I mean, this was earned big time. And they came out there, they were dominant throughout the night. At halftime, I mean, in our newsroom, all across the city, people saying, can you believe this is happening?
On both sides of the football, they were dominant. And, you know, we went on at 4:30 this evening, and we talked about how nervous the fans were, how nervous some of the reporters covering were about tonight's game, because we were playing against one of the best quarterbacks. You know, the last time the Eagles won, they took down one of the best quarterbacks, Tom Brady. Tonight, they took down one of the best, maybe the best quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. It's so much to celebrate, because it's been such a season, quite a season, and this is the end result, and we're just so excited to watch it. A celebration like this, it brings the city together. We're seeing all of the celebrations again on Broad Street, but right here is the players who worked for it all season long, and they certainly deserve to celebrate in their own way tonight.
And Rick, what strikes me so much about these players is in these post-game interviews, they're just so calm and taking it all in. They played that way today. They were zoned in, they were focused. We earlier tonight heard from Sal Paolantonio, who said at last night's meeting, it was very calm. There was not a lot of emotion. They just knew what they had to get done. They went out there with one thing. They wanted to dominate, and they did it. The final score, 40-22. The Eagles, the Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, I keep thinking about that NFC Championship game where they almost scored 50 points against Washington. No one would have suspected that they would score 40 points in the Super Bowl, but it was a rout. Eagles dominating the Kansas City Chiefs, both sides of the football, a convincing victory, a revenge match to be sure, but again, it was a revenge and then some for these Philadelphia Eagles.
Jason, you watched the game. We were all together eating some Mexican food tonight here at the station, enjoying that, but watching the game together. Talk to me about what you saw tonight in this matchup with the Chiefs.
It just all came together for the Eagles at the right time, and obviously you can see these guys celebrating right now. They were a talented team, and everybody knew how talented they were on paper. As you see C.J. Gardner-Johnson, it's funny because he played for the Eagles when they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. Then he left to go to the Detroit Lions, and he had a lot of hard feelings with the Eagles organization because they didn't bring him back. And then obviously they got back on the same page, and he came back and he finally won that ring with the Eagles. So that's awesome to see him cross the mountaintop. But really, it just came together for them this season. And we always knew the talent was there, and we always knew that they had a chance to compete, but they had to do the little things. Last year, they start 10-1, and it just kind of falls off the rails. And you heard Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, they don't like each other. A.J. Brown, is he happy? Is he going to leave? And you know, it's tough with Eagles fans because they are breathing down your neck and they make things uncomfortable for you when things aren't going well. So it takes a lot of mental fortitude to kind of turn that around. And for Nick Sirianni to kind of be the leader turning that around, you have to give him a lot of credit. And I know Deuces mentioned this earlier. This was the last year of his contract. Nick is going to get paid. So he made himself a lot of money this year. And a lot of guys on this team made themselves a lot of money this year. But the good thing about this Eagles team is they're so young.
Yes.
They had the 6th youngest defense in the entire league, and they had the best defense.
Barely
That's
old
unheard
enough
of.
to drink this champagne they're enjoying tonight.
100%. Cooper DeJean just turned 22.
22.
2 years ago, he would have got an underage.
Right, he looked like he just turned 12. But what a game he had. And just a couple of birthday boys who were celebrating along with these other Eagles players tonight. Jason, stand by. We're going to continue to come to you. Jason Dumas here in the studio with us. We want to continue to look at the celebration unfolding in Center City, Philadelphia. And Chad Baddelli standing by in South Philadelphia as the fans continue to flood up Broad Street, heading to City Hall. And that parade has not ended at all, Chad, has it?
Well, a little bit, Rick. We're here at Broad in Washington, and I think I think a little fatigue is setting in, or people are out of beer. Because for the first time, I'm seeing more people actually walking south on Broad versus north on Broad. So you can see the crowd is certainly dispersed a bit, at least down where we are. City Hall, still a lot of people, of course, but you're starting to see people make their way now south. Now, if you go down here, just south of Washington, from our vantage point, you can see a lot of people still dancing. There's been a number of people setting off fireworks, and you can see a crowd is still gathered there. But you're starting to see some people beginning to make their way out of Center City, making their way down to South Broad, likely getting in their vehicles. But, you know, so the crowd is certainly dispersed a bit than what we saw, you know, 20, 30 minutes ago. And that's obviously a welcome sign for Philadelphia police. They like people celebrating, but certainly they don't want the crowds to get too big where it can be a bit overwhelming. Now they're starting to allow some traffic actually on Washington, which they weren't doing before. They've taken off the barricades there, so you can see some cars are now making their way out of the city and beginning to you know, end the festivities, at least for some people. Of course, the crowds are still heavy down over by City Hall. A lot of people still celebrating down there, and I would imagine they'll continue to do so at least for another hour or so, as long as Philadelphia police will allow them. Haven't seen anything out of line down here. It's actually been well behaved, you know, and something I've been watching here over the last hour and a half is you see so many people embracing and hugging, husbands and wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, father and sons, and certainly that is what's so special about a Super Bowl victory, how it brings the city together, brings families together, and also creates those cherished memories that, you know, fathers and sons will remember for the rest of their lives, you know, when they got to watch the Eagles win that Super Bowl trophy. And certainly a great atmosphere for so many people to enjoy, and something that we're obviously seeing all over the place down here. And right now, it's been a great time. You can hear the fireworks still going off, a lot of celebrating, and that celebration will continue into next week for that Super Bowl parade. More of those details will be coming in the days to come, but what a great night. The Eagles dominating fashion, get another Super Bowl victory. For now, live at Broad, Washington, I'm going to send it back to you guys.
This is Action News Sports Sunday, sponsored by Audi.
And a very special edition of Sports Sunday as we continue to broadcast live here. The Eagles, your Super Bowl winners, a 40-22 decisive victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's get right to our sports director, Deuces Rogers, on the scene there on the field. Deuces, set the situation for us there tonight.
Still confetti on the field. The players are in the locker room still celebrating. I know the final score says 40-22. That's what's going to be in the record books, but this game was not that close. This was a dominant performance by the Eagles. At one point, I believe it was at halftime, the Eagles had 24 points. The Kansas City Chiefs had 23 yards. Let that sink in for a second. The Eagles had 24 points, and the Chiefs had a total of 23 yards. That's how dominant of a victory this was today. Let's now hear from the players on this victory.
Dream come true, baby. I told myself going into this weekend, make sure that green confetti is falling, and then it'll be worth it.
It's special. You know, I feel like it hasn't fully set in, but I'm excited for the parade in Philly, I can tell you that. And the span of 4 years, 2 natties, and a Super Bowl, like, it's nothing but a dream come true, man.
And there you hear the players so excited about this victory. Once again, the Eagles 40-22 over the Chiefs. The Eagles, their second Super Bowl championship in the past 8 years. Guys?
Deuces, how you plan on celebrating tonight?
I might go to Bourbon Street. I've been good all week.
You deserve it.
Not sure yet.
You've done a great job all week. Thank you, Deuces.
Thank you, thank you.
All right.
Sports Sunday, sponsored by your Delaware Valley Audi dealers. Go confidently with legendary Quattro all-wheel drive.
It is Sports Sunday, all right, but it is also, as we said, Philadelphia's own version of Mardi Gras, as we take another live look from Chopper 6 on Broad Street right outside City Hall, and the crowd, maybe they are listening. We will check in with our reporters like Andy McCormick, who's standing by to tell us, but we have seen this crowd swell since the game ended. thousands and thousands of people still there, and we are, again, so is an army of police, making sure people are safe, making sure some of the mishaps that took place after the NFC Championship game do not take place tonight. But again, we're watching the celebration continue to unfold here in Center City, Philadelphia.
The fans started coming out of the bars and restaurants, wherever they were watching, at about 10 o'clock. Even within the final 5 minutes of the game, this game wasn't even over yet, but they knew based on the score that this was going to be a victory, and they took to the streets. Our John Paul has been overhead with an eagle-eye view of the celebration as it's been unfolding throughout about the last hour and 45 minutes. John, how would you describe the situation now? Chad saying some people are starting to disperse.
Yeah, so I'm in the bird, covering the birds. This is awesome. But yeah, I can see that the crowds have kind of thinned out a little bit. Right now we're looking at the north side of City Hall there at Broad Street, and you can see the police are not letting anybody get anywhere near City Hall. And you can see the crowds kind of gathered right there in front, waving their flags, lighting off fireworks as the police stand by. They're keeping an eye on everything. But, you know, we haven't seen, it seems less chaotic than the NFC Championship. That was just complete madness, and we saw a lot going down. We'll kind of pan down Broad Street here so you can get an idea of where the pockets are. But, you know, earlier you couldn't see any of the pavement. Now we're starting to see a little bit of pavement. It's hard to tell if they might be going down some side streets. This one here is Arch and Broad. A lot of people there, and they're sitting on top of, it looks like maybe a dump truck or something there. You could hardly see the truck. You wouldn't know there's a truck except for the flashing lights. That's the only way you could tell that there is a truck there. People just having a good time sitting there. And, you know, we haven't seen much in the way of people even climbing poles. We saw one or two, but it looks like people kind of gotten the message that, hey, that's too dangerous. Fireworks, yeah, that's still something people are setting off, but we'll pan down. We're on the north side of Broad Street once again, right by the convention center. Just crowds, crowds, crowds. It doesn't look like they have the giant gaps on the north side of Broad Street that they do on the south side of Broad Street. Another thing you'll also notice is, especially on the southern side, the police are keeping people off the sidewalks, and the reason they're doing that is they're also protecting these buildings. They're protecting the glass. They don't want anything broken, so they're trying to keep people in the streets themselves. Looks like on the north side of Broad, it's just kind of maybe a little more chaotic, but it's a good chaos. We are not seeing the kind of craziness that we saw with the NFC. People seem to be behaving themselves. You know, Chad said maybe they ran out of beer. I don't know, but everybody looks like they're having a good time. Police keeping a very close eye on things. We've seen a lot of police drones as well in this area. That is something they said they will utilize to keep an eye on the crowds themselves, but looks like they're doing a pretty good job, guys.
Yeah, they have some very advanced drones that they're able to use and sort of pinpoint what's happening there. But from our vantage point here, we have got a view from up above where you are, John. A lot of police there in front of City Hall, and then another ground view where it looks like a dance party at the moment. That's what we want to see, people enjoying themselves tonight.
Absolutely. Something like this brings the entire city together. John Paul, stand by there from Chopper 6. You have the best view, and we'll continue to come to you momentarily throughout the evening. Thank you for your coverage. We want to go back to the Big Easy in New Orleans. Brian Taft standing by, still on the field at the Superdome. Brian, where did you watch the game, by the way?
Right where I'm standing, Rick. You know, we had to move around a couple of times throughout the game, but I did really get a pretty good vantage point to watch history unfold in this building behind me tonight. You know, one of the extraordinary things is that, you know, people get to soak in this moment. Let me take you off the side here. Fans are gone. You know, they've left now. It's players and media. But I want you to know how much this means to everybody who had any role at all to play with this team, whether it was covering them or cheering for them. They're all taking in this moment. And you can see folks just sitting there on the field, throwing up the confetti and enjoying the moment. What a ride it's been. I reflect on the fact that the season started in Brazil, and we don't talk enough about that. And I got to go along on that trip with the Eagles as well. And in that game, we saw flashes of greatness. We saw Jalen Hurts show us what his legs could look like and how his arm was so efficient. We saw Saquon Barkley for the first time in uniform, but they weren't great. There were flashes of greatness. Those first few games, yeah, they were good, but nobody really felt confident that it would end here in this way. People said they're a second-half team. Boy, they are a second-half team in so many other ways. Everything came together at exactly the right moment to deliver this complete and dominating performance here in New Orleans. And now the party shifts to Bourbon Street. We caught up with a fan I think you might recognize who wanted to reflect on this moment. How about Bradley Cooper?
Oh, man, I'm just so happy to be here. Everybody at home, we did it, baby. We did it.
You think you got them started with that little pregame speech?
No, I'm just happy to be there and be there with Declan. That was awesome.
How proud are you of this team?
Oh, man. I mean, it's just... Man, I remember 2 years ago we were here. We just felt like we should have won. To be back here and all together, playing the way we did, it was just awesome.
Every home game sitting up in the box with Jeffrey Lurie. And in fact, it was Bradley Cooper who introduced the Eagles tonight. Came out, led this entire stadium in the Eagles chant, and then outran the Eagles onto the field and into the history books tonight. So some extraordinary moments playing out on the field here tonight, and of course all throughout the season. And it's been such a pleasure for us to bring it to you all the way through, guys.
Well, for executive producer Mark Meany, who got that interview with Bradley Cooper, that had to be quite the experience. At least I imagine it would be. That was pretty cool.
I suspect you're right.
Thank you, Brian.
Brian, thank you. We want to go back. Chopper 6 still live over Broad Street, where you can see police lining the apron there in front of the building. And the crowd that we've heard from some of our reporters on the ground does seem to be slowly dispersing. It's not such a crush of people, although there is still a lot of people out there. Action News reporter Annie McCormick monitoring it for us. Annie, from your vantage point, what are you seeing now?
Yeah, well, Sarah, there was a little bit of an issue a short time ago with about 4 or 5 people that were standing on what I think is a newsstand. It's at the intersection of Broad and Locust on the east side in front of Del Frisco's Grill. If you're right at that intersection, there's a newsstand. It looked like 4 or 5 of them were up there. They have since come down. I hope it was safely. I didn't see anybody fall. We have seen, though, a couple of medics. They're going around on a small, like a golf cart like vehicle, so that they could get in between the crowds. We saw 2 medics coming in that way, and then they just headed into the abyss of people, headed from Broad and Spruce. They headed up closer towards Locust, Chestnut area. That is where the concentration of people does remain. The largest amount of people right now is between City Hall and Chestnut Street, and then down to Locust. And I don't know if you can hear this over me talking, but you're also hearing a loudspeaker right now going off. That just started within the past 20 minutes, and it's Philadelphia police telling the crowd to disperse. And it actually seems like people are listening. So because we're seeing more movement, and now at Broad and Spruce, this is the most of the street that we have seen since about 10 o'clock this evening. So there is movement of people at least walking away. However, where I am, there's much less people. But like I said before, the concentration is closer to City Hall, and it looks like they still have a ways to go getting people and getting the crowd dispersed in that area. I'm estimating that it could take between 2 to 3 hours to get all of those people out of there still, just going by when we've covered these things before. 2 years ago, when we covered the Super Bowl loss, I think I remember being out here until probably about 12:45 in the same spot, and that was after a loss. So that's about how long it took. I'm saying this too, Sarah, because as much as people are tuning in to watch to see the celebration on Broad Street, there's also people that are tuning in to see when it's going to end. And I know that because I'm also getting text messages from people asking me. So for those people wondering when it's going to end, it looks like that has begun. That police have now said, you know, they're the host of the party saying, all right, guys, it's time to start to get your coats and start to head towards the door. That's the message that they're sending to people. So how long that will take to disperse them, I'm guesstimating about 2 to 3 hours. The other thing, too, is we're seeing less fireworks go up, but we're also seeing more of those fireworks set off from the side streets off of Broad Street. I'm seeing them probably as close as 12th Street, probably, and then 17th Street. Boom, there's one right there. So we're still seeing that pop up as well. But as for, you know, the crowds and the mood is positive where we're at. And it looks like it didn't take too long for police to get those people that were standing on top of what I believe is that newsstand at Broad and Locust too. But the celebration is still going on. There's still plenty more alcohol. I don't know if beer. Chad was saying maybe they ran out of beer. I can tell you what they have not run out of is champagne, because I keep seeing people probably about every 15 minutes popping a bottle of champagne, some of them wasting it by spraying it on some of our hardworking police officers out here too. So as we go on through the evening, this is definitely a time period that is really important for police, because so far they want to make sure that they still have all of this under control as well. But you can see, like we said before, there's celebration among celebration here out on the streets. But they are now asking for people, they're saying that on the loudspeaker, to disperse. They're asking for the crowds to head home. That's the latest here in Center City. Annie McCormick, Channel 6, Action News.
Yeah, and Annie, some of the officers I had talked to ahead of this said they were going to give them 2 hours, and this all started at about 10 o'clock. We're now about 6 minutes away from it being 2 hours as we approach midnight. And it does look like they are moving in now to disperse the crowds. You said they had the announcements over the loudspeakers. They will start to move these crowds. Commissioner Kevin Bethel said last week they will not let this run all night. They've got to get cleaned up. They've got to get the city back in order. People have work and school tomorrow, so it does look like now that they are moving. And this is the Highway Patrol Division, by the way, the guys on the motorcycles who will begin to push the crowd to the outer perimeters and work to convince people that it's now time to go home.
Yeah, it's like those old-time basement parties where the parents start flicking the lights saying, all right, time to go home, time to get your things and get out. It looks like police are starting to say the party is just about over. Let's go back live to Action News anchor John Paul with the bird's eye view from Chopper 6. And John, are you seeing the same thing, that slowly but surely the police are trying to move the crowd along and end the party?
This is exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing the police move through. They came through on 15th, and then we saw them trying to kind of drive through the crowd itself to get those motorcycles through. You see them right there. It looks like they're meeting up. I'm not sure if they're going to kind of form a line and start a push, but they have a method to the madness here. Like, they have planned this out. They know what they're doing. They're gonna group up, and as Annie was saying, they made the announcement. And when you get that dispersal announcement, they don't give you too much time after that until they start to push. Now, if we can actually pull this camera out a little bit, and you can kind of give an idea of where we are. So you see City Hall on the left. This is the north side of City Hall. And we're going to pan left. I want to show you they have a lot of officers at South Broad Street. And they had the riot gear on a little bit earlier as we're going to kind of push in on South Broad Street. So you can see this whole quadrant here is cleared out. They have done a really good job kind of protecting City Hall, keeping people back away as we push in. This is kind of the head right here. You see all those police officers. They all have the riot gear. They've got the gates there. They're still letting people do their thing. It looks like there might even be, I'm not sure, on the south, just south of that shot there, you see some people in Army fatigues as well. It looks like they have been staging there. I don't know when they're going to get a push, but this has grown considerably. The officers' presence right here. So that's South Broad Street where those people are. You see a lot of the officers there on the south side of City Hall. We saw the officers on the north side of City Hall, and it does look like they might be poised to kind of start pushing the crowd. I'm not sure where this crowd is going to go. I don't know if they're going to go down the side streets. We've seen a lot of that, but it does look like they are planning to do something here in the near term, and we're going to keep an eye on it here from the chopper as we kind of push down Broad Street, and we can see the crowds have thinned out just a little bit. Now, right here, that's Chestnut. That's the intersection of Chestnut. That hasn't really changed all that much. The people have not really moved. It's hard to move in a crowd that big. But it does look like we might start seeing some movement. Look at the left of the screen there as well. You see all those officers lined up there. It looks like they have the riot gear on. They are in formation. So it looks like they are about to do a push. So that's the left side. Let's pan to the right side. And you're going to see all the officers in the yellow on this side. And we also see some officers in riot gear too. They have the bikes. So if they've gotten that announcement, we could see. We're going to keep an eye on this. We'll kind of watch South Broad Street because it looks like really maybe this is where the push may begin as they get that that signal to move on out. But hey, still fireworks going off here as we keep an eye on things, guys.
Action News Sports Sundays Beat the Spread is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. More ways to win.
We continue our coverage here as the Eagles are the Super Bowl winners. Let's go back to Deuces Rogers on the field there in I was going to say Minneapolis, in New Orleans. That's the last one, the one before that, with more of our coverage. Deuces.
Yeah, Sarah, this was a lot warmer than we were back there in Minneapolis some 7 years ago. We talked about how dominant of a performance this was. 40-22 was the final, but that doesn't tell the true story. On offense, Jalen Hurts, 2 touchdown passes, a touchdown run. He turns out to be the Super Bowl MVP. On defense, they sacked Patrick Mahomes 6 times, intercepted him twice, won a pick 6 by Cooper DeJean. Special teams, we were all worried about Jake Elliott coming in. He hits 4 field goals and perfect on all 4 of his extra point attempts. This was a complete dominant victory. Here are some of the players immediately after the game.
It's a party in Philly! It's a party, baby! Hey, tell the fans, hey, we going to Disney World! We going to Disney World, baby!
They're going somewhere. Players in the locker room, we saw them afterwards, partying up like crazy. Soon they'll go back to their team hotel, or they're going to have a post-game party somewhere. Not exactly sure where that is. Eventually they'll get back to Philadelphia at some point tomorrow. Might be a little hungover, and then in a few days we'll have that parade on Broad Street. But once again, this was a complete dominant victory. And the cool thing about this team, and I mentioned it earlier in one of my earlier hits, the one thing that all the players told us throughout the week was that this team felt a lot more connected, a lot closer, more like a family than they did last year. Of course, last year they started off 10-1, then we had that collapse. Starting in training camp, starting in OTAs back in May, Coach Sirianni preached to them to be a family. And we heard the players say that when you have relationships with the guys next to you, the guys in the locker room, that you're willing to go further for that guy if you have a relationship with them, and vice versa. And we definitely saw that throughout the year. They battled through adversity. This team started off 2-2, remember? 2-2, and we were all calling for, oh gosh, what's going to happen? Get rid of Nick Sirianni, stuff like that. And then they only lost 1 game since that 2-2 start. Let's now hear from the safety on this team, Reed Blankenship.
What do you think, man? What do you mean what I think? I just had a bucket list thing. Dream come true, baby. Oh, my God.
You can just feel the raw emotions from these guys. They finally reached this goal. They were so close 2 years ago. So close. They were actually winning that game at halftime in Glendale, Arizona against these same Kansas City Chiefs, and then the bottom fell out in the second half of that game. But they finally get redemption 2 years later. The Chiefs, of course, were going for that three-peat. Never been done in the history of the NFL. They were the favorite team. They were favored by about 1.5 points right at kickoff. But the Eagles were the better team, and that's all that matters. I keep looking at the score. The reason why I keep looking at the score because 40-22 again. That does not indicate what a tail whooping we saw here tonight at the Superdome. Rick and Sarah?
Absolutely. I mean, Kansas City didn't score until, the third quarter, I believe, Deuces. And,
it was late.
Yeah, it was late in the game. And this team showed us who they were early. They didn't lose to an AFC team all season long. They beat up on Baltimore. They beat up on Pittsburgh. Did they play Buffalo? I mean, every AFC team they met with, they spanked, correct?
Yes. And think about this. The only game that they lost, I think they had a 10-game win streak at one point, but the only game they lost since they started off 2-2 was that game against the Washington Commanders where Jalen Hurts got that concussion in the first quarter of the game and Kenny Pickett had to finish out that game. So you kind of just take that off the board. And, of course, they faced the Commanders for a third time in the playoffs, and they beat them. And then, of course, they destroyed the Rams. And then this game, this team just steamrolled. And one thing that Jalen Hurts and Dick Sirianni told us during the week was that they can win many ways. And Sirianni said, hey, listen, if we've got to run it 50 times and throw it once or vice versa, we'll do that. He doesn't care how they do it. It's just a matter of fact, they just want to win. And that's all they care about. And Jalen Hurts showed that all those naysayers that doubted him the last couple of years, people that talk about him on talk radio or the blogs and things like that, he shut everybody up tonight with the Super Bowl victory and his Super Bowl MVP.
about this.
That's for sure, Deuces.
Thank you, Deuces.
Can't take that away from him. We're going to go back now to Broad Street. As we said, at about this hour, about midnight, police now moving in. They have put on the loudspeakers that a message, blasted it out. Basically, this party is over. We've given you 2 hours now, and there's a method to this. They will now push these crowds back. They will push them to the outer streets, get them to disperse. In terms of the Philadelphia Police Department, they want this to be done at this point. The commissioner said last week they weren't going to let this go for hours and hours. They needed to get things cleaned up, get people to work and school tomorrow. So it does look like right now they have officers in place. They had a plan here, a plan that they are now putting into action. Those officers were on standby on the sides there. They let the party happen. They let the celebration happen. But as you can see now, they are moving into the street to start pushing crowds out and put the party that we've had tonight kind of to an end.
Yeah, they certainly had a plan in place. They were not going to let thousands and thousands of people crush the City Hall area. In fact, they kept some people, in South Philadelphia where they could only get so far, and other parts of the city where it would be hard for them to get to the City Hall area. And certainly if you were trying to drive into the city, there were no exits off the Vine Street Expressway or the Schuylkill going into the city. So they were doing their best to try and minimize the crowd. But again, we're looking at hundreds of thousands of people right now, and it's going to take some time before they're able to really disperse these partiers, these folks who are celebrating a huge Super Bowl victory. But so far, so good. Their plan has been in place, and they're continuing to slowly but surely try and get these folks to go home.
And they're using the barricades here now as part of their tactics. You can see uniformed officers on the side, the bike patrol, and then the officers in the riot gear with the shields. People are being compliant. Look, there were people up on that bus shelter there to your left. The officers said get down, and they are getting down. They are ready to go to start moving this crowd. You can see here they're pushing with the barricades, and they will also use those bicycles to get this crowd to move back, get out of the area. But it was hundreds of thousands of people, I think it's fair to say, as Rick did, converged here on
Absolutely.
South Broad Street in the aftermath. It wasn't even the aftermath. In the final minutes of this game, as this was such a decisive victory, it became clear the Eagles were the clear winners. People had their celebration, and now the city of Philadelphia is saying it is time to go home.
Yeah, even before halftime, we saw people coming to Broad Street, coming to City Hall, because they could sense that victory was imminent. It was just such a complete devastation of tonight's game against Kansas City. A lot of these celebrants, a lot of these partiers arrived early, and again, the police had a plan in place, perhaps to give them 2 hours to celebrate a huge Super Bowl victory, perhaps the biggest victory in Eagles history. But now, as you can see, they're trying to do their best to disperse the crowd and convince them to move on with very little confrontations. And we saw little skirmishes throughout the evening, but so far so good. The police plan seems to be in place, and we're continuing to watch it live from Chopper 6 and our other vantage points here at this hour.
It seems their plan has worked. We have not seen people up on the poles. Of course, that tragic situation, a young Temple student lost his life when he fell off of a pole at the NFC Championship 2 weeks ago. So they got that message out there. Come have a great time. This is a joyous occasion. This is so good for the city. A Super Bowl win. It's exciting. And now we'll look ahead to a parade likely later on this week. But in the meantime, you had your party. It's time, folks, to start dispersing.
Exactly. Certainly, Broad Street is ground zero for the celebrations. And again, we do await details on when that parade will take place. In the meantime, let's go back to Action News reporter Chad Padelli. He's in South Philadelphia, also along Broad Street, where, again, we saw a sea of green moving north of Broad Street to City Hall, but we're not seeing so much now, Chad, huh?
A little reversal there, Rick. They've reversed course. Like you said, police are really starting to disperse the crowds up north near City Hall, and you're starting to see it down here. You can see the flow is now moving south. You can see the traffic has picked up here on Broad Street. Now down over here on the other side of Washington, a little dance party still going on. there's really not a heavy police presence at all down here. I think most of the police officers made their way north to protect City Hall, because finding any officers down here is really few and far between. You have a couple cops there at the intersection directing traffic, making sure that runs smoothly. And you can see they're allowing people down here to dance, do their thing. They've been putting off a couple fireworks, but for the most part, it appears the party is dying down a bit. Police are making sure that people begin to disperse. Like Sarah talked about earlier, really got to get the streets cleaned up. We have Monday. I don't know how many people will be going to work tomorrow, but those that do, they got to get the city ready. And it appears that many people are beginning to make their way out of here and starting to head home, which is obviously a welcome sign for the Philadelphia Police Department. But what a festive night. Really, it's been well behaved, at least down here where I am at Broad in Washington. Can't speak for City Hall. I know John and Annie can talk a little more about that, but it really has been quite a festive atmosphere. You can see some people still in their pickups, enjoying themselves, taking photos, capturing the moment. Another celebration down Broad Street, which appears to be coming to an end shortly. How long that'll be, well, that remains to be seen, but for the most part, it looks like things are dispersing quite nicely down here, and it was a good celebration and another Super Bowl victory for the Birds. I'm going to send it back to you guys.
All right, Chad Pradelli reporting live from South Philadelphia. Perfect vantage point for you, Chad. Thank you. Let's go now to Action News' Maggie Kent here in the studio with a look at some of the videos and pictures that you, the viewers, have been sending us all evening long. Hi, Maggie.
Rick, we have been living vicariously through all of you via social media. There are so many videos out there now and ways to express your fandom. We love them all. The entire Delaware Valley excited for this Super Bowl win, of course. Erica is sending us this video of the celebrations in Ambler, Montgomery County. You can see crowds of Birds fans in the streets moments after this very big and important win. The Empire State Building lit up in green, and despite the Giants fumbling Saquon to our benefit, the Big Apple is looking very good tonight in green. And here is the Walter family. They are celebrating the win in Jameson, Bucks County. You can see multiple generations come together to cheer on the Birds. Some confetti there, jumping. You got the light up bracelets and, of course, that Kelly Green look to you. Danielle from Washington Township, New Jersey, sending us this adorable video. This is Aubrey, Austin, and Dominic doing their own Eagles chant. You gotta love the shuffle as well that they have going on there. Still 0-0 as they were singing that song, so they knew within their hearts this was going to be a blowout tonight. Check out what Dave Fiorella did this morning in Roxborough. He ran 5.9 miles for Super Bowl 59 and spelled out "Go Birds" with his route. He joked about running erratically and taking weird turns on the streets. He said he got a lot of go Birds, lots of people cheering him on as well. What an epic celebration for Eagles fans in Point Breeze. Take a listen to this. Happy birthday, dear Cooper. Okay, so it is a cookie cake, not only to commemorate the Birds in the big game, but the massive playmakers, Saquon Barkley and Cooper DeJean, both birthday boys today. Barkley now 28, DeJean 22 years old, and they got the perfect gift, of course, the Lombardi Trophy and nice new Super Bowl rings to go along with it. Fans around the world, they're cheering on the Birds today. Kathy Gallagher sending us this photo of Suzanne Alfonso on a cruise in Antarctica, still showing off her Eagles pride as well. And Paleolonis sent us this video of her grandson playing Eagles fight song there. Pretty impressive. You can always send your pictures and your videos, 6abc.com/share. I have a feeling a lot more pictures, a lot more videos will be popping up in the next few days. There's a lot more celebrating to come, guys.
Yes, this is something you never forget. The memories of tonight will linger for so many people who've never saw a Super Bowl celebration like tonight, or the Eagles winning. Certainly, they won a few years ago, but for so many people, this is a first, and we are basking in the revelry tonight.
Well, this seals it. We're looking live in New Orleans at the Caesars Superdome, lit in green tonight for the winning team, our Philadelphia Eagles. Let's go live now to Frankfurt and Cottman, an area where fans have been known to gather as well. Our Walter Perez has been there all night. What's the situation at the moment, Walt?
Hey guys, this really is a tale of two parties. The one where we first got here after the game, and now the streets have really cleared out here in Frankfurt Avenue. It was an ocean of humanity earlier. As we give you a little bit of a look at what's going on, you can see the garbage trucks are still blocking off the road, and this lovely crowd is following me, and I really have to say, the people have been fantastic. I mean, there were concerns, of course, of people getting violent and people doing crazy things, but by and large, the crowd was fantastic, and as you can see, once again, at this point, the crowd is really dispersed. But I want to emphasize just how many people were out here earlier. I mean, it was an absolute sea of humanity. There were police drones in the air, the helicopters. No. All right, we'll talk.
I didn't really think it was going to be like this, but I love it. Go Birds!
Just a great game. I knew we were going to beat them bad, but guess what? Let's go Birds.
It's been a great season for the Eagles. I'm surprised, actually, because, you know, they bring us here and then they disappoint sometimes, but this is a good drawing right here.
Well, no disappointments tonight. Thank you, Walter Perez and Mayfair. Let's go back live now from Chopper 6 in Center City, Philadelphia, near City Hall. And as you can tell, still plenty of people there. Again, the police are slowly but surely trying to disperse the crowd, trying to convince them to go home and end the party so they could prepare for tomorrow's a work day and tomorrow's a school day. But right now, the so-called Mardi Gras, Philadelphia style, continues here outside of City Hall.
John Paul is live above in Chopper 6, and this sure doesn't look like these folks are ready to go home. John?
Yep. Yeah. I don't think they're going to work tomorrow, that's for sure. I mean, if they are, they're going to have a headache. I think a lot of people will. This is Lombard Street here at South Broad, and we've been watching people on top of the trash trucks. We're seeing a couple Eagles climbing on top of there right now as well. You see there's some police cars in the background, but they've kind of let people do their thing and climb on top of here. We haven't seen anybody fall off. That is certainly a concern for sure. Again, this is Lombard and South Broad Street. Let's kind of pull out a little bit, and then we're going to kind of go north towards City Hall so you can get an idea. So it's the intersections where the people are gathering. It has really started to thin out just a bit. As you can see there, this is at Pine Street. They've blocked all the people off. They have that large gap, and then that's Spruce Street right there where things are picking back up. And you see the crowds as we get closer and closer to Locust Street. And as we go all the way up, you can see Walnut, Sansom, and then this is where the police have it blocked off. Now, we watched the side street of Chestnut where it looked like they kind of blocked off the side street. I'm not sure if they're going to start funneling people down Broad. That's certainly an option for them. But I think what they're doing is just kind of a wait-and-see approach because they're not seeing people really getting too out of hand. They're just kind of, I mean, look, they're just kind of dancing, hanging out. I think they just want to celebrate the moment with other Eagles fans in the streets. So police are kind of letting them do that. There's no reason to really rush in and cause a bigger issue. So they're really just a wait-and-see approach here as people have slowly started to filter out. And I don't know if they're going to have like an exact time where they move people out, but you can see from this shot here, if we showed you this an hour ago, you wouldn't see the road. So you're starting to see people move on out. Maybe some people do have to work in the morning. Maybe they're going to save it for the parade itself. But the police are very disciplined in this. They've been through this before. They're going to let people have their fun. They're continuing to let them have their fun as we go back here to Lombard. They're on top of the trash trucks. You see on the left a lot of the Eagles, people dressed up like Eagles, and they're just kind of hanging out, having a good time there on South Broad Street, guys.
Yeah, it could be a long night for Philadelphia police. John, thank you. And we continue to give us this bird's eye view from Chopper 6. And we just want to mention that there's been no official word from the city regarding a parade for the Eagles. So when we learn of that, certainly we will pass it on. Although we have received some tweets or saw some social media hints about when a parade could take place, Sarah.
Yeah, on X, formerly Twitter, the Philadelphia Eagles official account just says simply, "See you Friday." But again, we're waiting for official confirmation from the city of Philadelphia as to whether or not there will be a parade on Friday. So we will wait and see on that as we look live here. Chopper 6 over the scene that's still not under control as these revelers are climbing the trash trucks here right near City Hall. Well, that's right at Broad and Lombard. Action News reporter Annie McCormick is live up above, getting a vantage point from there. What are you seeing now at the moment, Annie?
Yes, Sarah, the concentration of people is still much closer to City Hall. We're talking about Chestnut and a little bit closer. It really starts at Locust. That's where it's a real concentration of people leading up to City Hall. We're still hearing those announcements coming over loudspeakers that Philadelphia did place along Broad Street ahead of the parade. Rick made a good analogy. You're at that basement party. The parents start to flicker on the lights. Well, the city of Philadelphia turned off the green light that was lighting up City Hall. So I think that was them flicking the lights saying, go home, all right? You're drunk, go home. So, but short of that, we're still seeing a lot of people out here. I still think it may take at least an hour, probably 2, to get everyone out of that particular area concentrating around City Hall. We're not seeing people on top of like the newsstand that we saw earlier. We're not seeing that, at least from where I am at this point. We're seeing plenty of movement here right at Broad and Spruce Streets. Again, they're pushing people towards the side streets. What we've seen in the past, you heard John Paul talking about what he was seeing from the air 2 years ago when we were out here, much like what you were talking about, Sarah, when you were talking about how Highway Patrol will start to push people. We saw that 2 years ago. Additionally, we saw officers in their tactical gear also moving those crowds down. And then from where Chad was talking from further down South Broad Street, when 2 years ago when we started to see that there really weren't any people left on that portion of South Broad Street, that's when Philadelphia police began to open the streets to vehicular traffic and slowly started to incorporate that vehicles being back onto Broad Street. I don't think we're there yet, but I definitely think we're significantly closer to that than we were just 40 minutes ago, just to give you an idea of my guesstimation of a timeline of wrapping this up. So, but if those tweets that you're talking about on X, formerly known as Twitter, are true, and there is a parade to be had this week, that means we need to clean this up and get going so we can start to plan that parade to come down Broad Street so we can do this all over again. But the good news at this point is we haven't seen, at least from where I'm standing at, we haven't seen any big injuries, anything major happening there. I will say, Ricky, I think you're zoomed in to where, around Locust. Is that around Broad and Locust? That's still, again, we're seeing some of those firecrackers pop up from the crowd. We're seeing people, you know, maybe get on each other's shoulders, and so there's still a lot of people there. So we're not out of the woods yet, because, you know, just when you think you're on your laurels is unfortunately when things happen. So I could see Philadelphia police doing a big concentration on just getting those people moving out of the way. That's their focus right now. So like I said, I'm guesstimating probably 2 hours it's going to take, at least on this portion of South Broad, to get people out of the way so you can get that vehicular traffic start to move again. But again, the vibe here is positive. It's fun. People are getting along. They're excited. They're happy. Not only do we obliterate the Chiefs, but my God, I mean, wow, what a game. What a game. So I am not shocked at all that people are still hanging out here, that they still want to be together, you know, enjoying this moment until we have that parade to do it all again. But that's the latest here live from South Broad Street. Back to you.
Annie, great job tonight. This
Thank you,
is
Annie.
definitely a moment in Philadelphia history. Your Philadelphia Eagles, the winners of Super Bowl 59, as we've been saying, in decisive fashion tonight, winning over the Kansas City Chiefs, denying their three-peat. The Eagles winning 40-22 in New Orleans. The celebration began at about 2 o'clock. It's been going on for a couple of hours now, mostly under control as police now work to disperse the crowds, get everybody to go home. We will reboot and have a celebration all week long this week.
Absolutely. The biggest party of the day started at Xfinity Live in South Philadelphia. Then all those people poured out and headed up Broad Street to City Hall. Many of them still there, but it has been quite a day, quite an evening. A big Super Bowl victory, 40-22 the score. We're certainly proud of our Eagles, and we can't wait to celebrate them with a parade. Again, we haven't heard any official word from the city.
Proud of our team, too. All our group down in New Orleans all week long, providing coverage for many, many days, hours after hour, with all those Eagles fans down there, and our teams on the street tonight, staying safe and bringing us the best coverage around, I think.
You and I sat here 2 years ago, different circumstances. So it's nice to...
Yeah, not the same outcome. It was sad.
You're in a better mood tonight,
yes.
So I appreciate this. All right. We, of course, will have continuing coverage on Action News mornings, starting at 4 a.m., I believe, and, of course, throughout the night, 6abc.com. I'm told 4:30. So, oh, it is 4. All right, it's 4 tomorrow morning. But so, again, thank you for staying with us throughout the evening. And thank you to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Some people may still be up at 4.
I won't be.
Yeah. Have a good night, everyone.
See you
Go
tomorrow.
Birds!
They decided to save up and opened Roll and Skate at the Plymouth Meeting